There is no other like mother, so treat her right. Mother, I always love her. My mother, so treat her right, treat her right.
I gotta get out of here. I think I'm gonna lose it.
Uh-oh. Sounds like somebody's got a case of...
Tongs days.
Hey, Foxy Lady, today's your birthday. Keep being Foxy, keep the wrinkles at bay. Foxy Lady! Foxy Lady! Foxy Lady! What a lady! Foxy Lady! Foxy Lady! Foxy Lady!
What do you do with a bunch of cops like these? One's a kleptomaniac. One's a compulsively violent ventriloquist. One's addicted to danger. And their leader's a transplanted Cajun who makes up his own rules as he goes along. What do you do with a bunch of cops like these? Give them a psychiatrist and pray.
Down on the bayou where I come from, everybody's different. I'll tell you something. Living be a problem to a man who don't run. Sleep without a mattress and a loaded gun. Back in the shadows, cottonmouth is lying. Deep in the city, lost men are dying. Look down in the water, sky is what you see. Life is kinda strange that way. Broken ain't a problem, ain't nothing near free. Cracked is nearly perfect, perfectly cracked naturally. Oh, Shelby. Over up the city where the light's supposed to shine. Everybody friendly, but they give you no time. Life ain't worth doing when you're holding the line. House I getting whiskey and muscadine wine. Back in the shadows, cottonmouth is lying. Deep in the city, lost men are dying. Look down in the water, sky is what you see. Life is kinda strange that way. Broken ain't a problem, ain't nothing near free. Cracked is nearly perfect, perfectly cracked naturally. Oh, yeah, 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 yeah.
Welcome to the Bombadcast.
Oh, here we are. Man, every year gets me excited. This is the Bombadcast. Welcome to CreepyPasta Year 5. We've had such good memories with writing stories for this and being a part of this. Welcome to the Bombadcast. We're live every Thursday, 8 p.m. We've got all kinds of wonderful stuff planned for you tonight. If you have a CreepyPasta that you have yet to submit, make sure you submit it now as soon as you can, because it is time. We are here, and we are going to be here next week, too. Next week, very excited for next week's episode. next week we're having Canon Conversations and Hot Wings with Ken and Alden as part of, and it's also going to cross post on the Anytime with Ken and Alden channel. So it's going to have a lot more viewers than normal. Hopefully some new Bombadcast friends and family will be made that night while Ken and Alden ask us difficult questions. And I mean difficult. This is no bullshit. They're going to ask us about our philosophies, our religions, our beliefs in things, scenario-based questions. This is not going to be no bullshit hot ones. What kind of pizza is best with milk? Like none of that crap that Sean Evans thinks he's good at and that Jared's going to defend because he's such an elegant man and he speaks so well. All that being said, Bombadcast, CreepyPasta, year 5, super pumped. Jerry, how are you feeling?
Have sex, excel. Put my hands against, put my best, put my 10, put my spend. Have sex, excel. Ultimately, can't show.
God damn, he's like just trying to take over the show tonight. I don't know what the hell's going on. So,
Jerry, how are you?
He heard you talk about the Hot Wings guy, and he was like, "Oh no,
no wings." Anyway,
Jared started that fire starter style, like with his mind. Like he's using our clips with his mind. I'll do a good bit. Listen, hey, here I meant to come in like this. Hey, CreepyPasta.
Jerry, you coined this years
pasta
ago.
makes me feel good.
You've coined this years ago. We need to make a section of our website dedicated to these. I think I'm going to try doing that this week. I think I'm going to find all of them.
The goal was to kind of proliferate these into the internet.
Yes,
because there was not enough Star Wars CreepyPasta. We're doing a service for you guys out there.
Yeah,
this is a favor. We are doing this for your betterment.
And this time we've got some
and for your rotting. So is that what the kids say? Is that what the kids say these days? You want for your brain
edging?
Rot? For your edging. That's it. Well, that's another one. So
that being said, we've got guests this time. We've always had guests in these shows to read their own stories and listen to ours and react and share our thoughts on them.
We're going to get started. Real quick, Savage Press #1 Dick Writer. Listen to the public service announcement. Be careful tonight, everybody. I found an Elon Mac chode in my Twix and my Mr. Goodbar. So just make sure to check that candy, okay? We're on Halloween night too. This is a momentous occasion.
It is
on All Hallows Eve. Did we do
Never.
This? Open to the third gate to hell or something.
It's kind of awesome. Look, and I can tell you this much: with it being on Halloween, obviously we have a bunch of stories we need to get through. We're going to try to limit this to at least 2 hours at a minimum because sometimes these things run long, but I have a perfect clip for Halloween. I've got a perfect clip for Halloween. Can I play our Halloween
I would
clip?
love it. Let's play the Halloween clip. Hell yeah.
The Halloween clip. Here we go.
All Hallows.
The Queen of Hearts, she made some tarts all on a summer's day. The Knave of Hearts, he stole those tarts and took them quite away.
There it is.
I'm gonna be honest. I'm a little scared after that one. I don't know if I can go on. Yeah, that was who that got me. That got me.
Can we bring in all three of our spooky guests real quick?
Let's bring in our guests.
Stop them all in right now at the same exact time. Tonight we've got Jared, Michael, and Eli, all with short stories. Happy to have all of you on, gentlemen. I'm just say this one thing. Friends of the show, all competitors in epic confrontations, and a whole lot of Go Tigers.
Go Tigers, 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 go Tigers.
How are you feeling, y'all?
I'm feeling good. Taylor very suddenly decided to throw me the Buzz Lightyear Squishmallow she got me years ago. In the event I got too scared.
That's actually very fair.
Like Woodsy was saying that I eat dingleberries, and then at that exact moment, Taylor was like, "In case you get too scared," and then threw me Buzz Lightyear.
Here's a living dingleberry, right there.
I was gonna say, here we go. That's Woodsy. Woodsy was saying that right there. Yeah,
living dingleberries. I want everyone to meet my new best friend, Caduceus. This is his Bombad debut, as well as his just podcast debut in general.
That's right.
So.
We might have a very vocal friend.
Yeah, isn't that right, buddy?
Yes.
He's usually more
he's not.
He's so vocal. He's so vocal.
He's trying to attack Grogu right now. So
Oh.
Eli, how we feeling, dude?
Feeling good. I'm really excited to see. As with Jared, this is my first time writing a story for CreepyPasta. I had this idea, like I had this idea even before, like I knew there was going to be a CreepyPasta. Like I didn't doubt there was going to be, but like before it was officially announced, and I'm like, okay, I got to write this down. And I'm really excited for everybody to hear it, and I'm really excited to hear all the other stuff. Always, like, the stories Michael drops on here are always bangers. So
I can't wait.
I am so excited.
Place tonight.
Yeah, that's true. That's 100% true.
Man, how wonderful is this? So, without further ado, we're gonna go ahead and get started. I wanted to read mine first to get it over with. I'm gonna do voices and everything, so it's gonna be kind of a moment. So let me. Are y'all ready? Here we go. We're ready to get this thing going.
Yeah, let's set the mood, man.
Here we go. Now, mine are usually silly. This is the first time I've ever written a serious one, and this one has a crawl. Y'all ready for this? This is it.
Oh, here we go.
The shadow of immortality. Turmoil stirs in the hidden corners of the galaxy. On the remote world of Sojourn, Sith Lord Darth Plagueis delves into forbidden experiments, seeking to control life and death through the elusive power of midichlorians. At his side, his ambitious apprentice, Darth Sidious, questions the boundaries of such dark knowledge. Torn between loyalty and ambition, he watches as Plagueis' unnatural path towards immortality threatens to reshape the very fabric of the galaxy they are creating.
Damn good crawl.
Thank you. They are merely interlopers of the Force, Plagueis noted. They are subservient to our desires and intentions, all the while allowing the Force to pass through us. It shouldn't be that way. Both Palpatine and Plagueis stare into a bubbling tank filled with green and yellow liquid in a room, lit by medical machines. They can be within our control if we begin to understand them for who they are, not what they are. These living things, though they are part of the living force, must find identity or create an energy that flows into the cosmic force. It is all cyclical, Darth Sidious, but the cycle can be manipulated. There must be a way to manifest our consciousness after death with the help of midichlorians. Plagueis explains as he turns towards 11-4D and begins to give specific monitoring instructions for the droid to follow as they proceed to their next mission. Master, I am curious about a great many aspects of the Force, but midichlorians do not seem important in the great return of the Sith. These organisms could grant us many abilities, but manipulating them into our will does not seem natural. Palpatine expresses softly as he steps away from the tank filled with green and yellow liquid. Natural, Darth Sidious. You are concerned with the natural means to power. What I ask you is truly natural. This word, so often spoken, is a mere shackle, a cage binding lesser minds to the constraints of the ordinary. To the unthinking, natural is sacred, untouchable, immutable. But for those who dare to see beyond the surface, natural is a prison, a mere wall constructed by minds fearful of true power. And it is in that true power we find our return most meaningful. Perhaps, my master. Sidious responds with a glint of dark curiosity in his eyes. Perhaps there is wisdom in these so-called shackles. Nature, as they call it, is orderly, predictable. It binds lesser beings, yes, but it keeps them obedient. Their attachment to what they think of as natural can be used to our advantage. He steps closer to the bubbling tank. The green and yellow liquid casts an eerie glow on his face. Yet, if they cling to this idea of a natural order, perhaps it is a tool we might wield rather than discard. Let them hold tight to these limits, while we walk freely among them, unseen and unheard. Sidious glances at his master with the faintest of smiles forming. For when the time comes, they will cling to the ordinary, blind to what we have become. It is far too late. He pauses, his voice low and venomous. Our true power, master, will lie in their failure to even recognize it. Yes, Sidious, Plagueis says, a gleam of understanding sharpening his gaze. The galaxy clings to its comforts, to natural order as a shield. They place faith in limitations because they do not see beyond them. But in those very limits, we can plant something unnatural, something that appears safe, yet conceals our true ambitions. He motions towards the tank, its content shifting as though alive. A creation, perhaps. Something less than us, yet strong enough to command loyalty. A figurehead, a bridge between the natural that the galaxy clings to and the dark truth we alone know. Palpatine watches the shape within the tank takes form. You propose a puppet? His voice thoughtful and intrigue. A future leader to unite them in ignorance, all while extending our reach? Plagueis nods slowly. Precisely, Sidious. One who wields the power in the shadows of our intent. A creation that bends to our will, yet radiates independence. Through him, we are free to move unseen. And the galaxy will worship him as it would so any hero or leader. Sidious smiles in a cold, calculating way. And when he becomes unnecessary, then he will fall, as all who cling to power do. Plagueis answers. But by then his purpose will have been served. He will be the mask, and we the unseen face. As Plagueis and Sidious step away from the bubbling tank, the liquid begins to shift and swirl, revealing a distorted and contorted humanoid figure within. The shape is reminiscent of a tall, imposing humanoid marked by grotesque features that hint at the dark and twisted experimentation that birthed him. The figure's skin is pale, stretched over a skeletal frame, while its facial features are exaggerated and grotesque, sunken eyes that glimmer with a malevolent intelligence, and a mouth that curls into a faint, unsettling grin. Strains of fluid cling to it, emphasizing its unnatural form. Plagueis regards the figure with a mixture of pride and caution. Behold, Sidious, the culmination of our ambitions. This being will serve as a future vessel for our will, a manifestation of darkness that can twist the minds of the unthinking. The galaxy will see him as a leader, a savior of sorts, all while we pull the strings. Sidious leans closer, intrigued yet skeptical. But will he possess the strength to command loyalty? Can we truly control a creation born of such dark power? Plagueis smirks, his eyes gleaming with confidence. Strength is a matter of perception, my apprentice. If we shape his image and instill fear, loyalty will follow. The future galaxy, as I have foreseen, is ripe for a figure that embodies its darkest desires. A leader that resonates with the fears and hopes alike. This creature will harness the power of both the dark side and the first natural order they cling to. As the remnants of the green and yellow liquid drain away, the figure stands fully revealed, still contorted and grotesque, but undeniably powerful. Plagueis gestures towards it. This is but the beginning. We will refine him, mold him to our purpose. Through Snoke, we will sow chaos and fear, pulling the galaxy deeper into darkness and into our grasp. Sidious nods slowly, and a sinister smile creeping across his face. Then let us begin, Master. Together, we will ensure that he is both their leader and our weapon. With that, the two Sith Lords turn back towards their dark ambitions. A shadow cast over the future of the galaxy as the creation of Supreme Leader Snoke marks the next step in their relentless quest for power.
That's where Snoke came from. That's where Snoke came from.
That's the origin of Snoke. He's been there the whole time. Isn't that kind of cool?
I also love that makes Palpatine take credit for making Snoke when it was all fucking Plagueis.
Yes.
I mean, yeah, that's
really
totally a Palpatine move. That's totally a Palpatine move.
The entire time. I thought that was pretty cool. Did y'all like that?
I loved it, man. I especially loved your First Order reference through the dialogue. That is so... Because like you're very clearly aping on Lucino's prose and you're doing a great job of it.
100%.
And Lucino loves that shit. He's like...
That's why
all throughout Plagueis, he's like, oh, yes, we will be a phantom menace. Like...
I do a James Lucinoism in the extended version of mine as well, and it's very ham-fisted. So I understand the temptation.
It was fun reading like the pattern of their dialogue and trying my best to mimic it. It's very hard to do because because James Lucino is a lot about talking. It's I don't know. There's a lot of action, of course, but like when you're reading it, it's just like damn,
Lucino's
like
prose is very eloquent, and he
really
delves into like lofty material, because Lucino was also very much an inspiration for my story, which we'll get into later tonight.
And mine.
Yeah. I've read Eli's in advance, and you told me earlier what yours, Scotty, is, and it's very funny that the three of us all did very similar things.
I know,
totally
that's
independently
that's
of each other.
it. Like when I saw the thumbnail for this stream, I thought,
Yeah.
wait, have they already read my story? Because this kind of spoils my story.
That's my script.
Wait, that's my script. No.
Script. Fuck.
The lines I wanted to highlight that I thought were great were, of course, this one. This creature will harness the power of both the dark side in the first natural order they cling to. That was like the old. I'm like, okay, that's my ham-fisted moment. And there was another one. Where was it? There was another one, but I don't know. I love
good.
I love the feel of it. But this. Oh, here's my other
It was
one.
ham-fisted in a good way, though. It was so
114D in there is a great reference, and he's canon too.
Yeah, he is canon. You're right. Hold on. There's one that I put
prefer
in
the
for
other 40
Jerry.
though.
Yeah,
Me
I do too.
Yeah, me too.
It is. There's one that was literally straight for Jerry. Oh, this is it. These organisms could grant us many abilities, but manipulating them into our will does not seem natural. It's
Something
just
natural.
Yeah.
It's just the same sentence, but inverted.
I still
so.
called that shit. We never talk about that enough, about how I called that shit
fucking
for Rise of
called
Skywalker.
it.
Yeah.
I have never seen someone
checked that thing.
Well, the exact thing Jerry said was in the Rise of Skywalker that he's going to open up with that line. That's how they're going to reason that Palpatine is alive, and it was the exact reason. It was word
exactly
for word.
what it was. Yeah.
Glad y'all.
Which means
enjoyed
I'm
it.
smarter than Joshua Abrams.
Than J.J. Abrams.
J.J. Abrams.
I think William just submitted me one. Hold on.
Oh,
I see William in the William. I see you out there. If you submitted one, I'm so happy.
I was gonna say, Scotty, like again, you do whatever you want. I'd actually like to go a little later, but it's really funny because your and my stories are like very, very similar.
Yeah, let's do Eli's in the middle and do mine last. Kind of bookend it with all of
with all of the scheming and plotting and stuff like that.
So, do you want to have some brevity here, or do we want to do serious? I mean, what do you want to do, Jerry?
I'm curious about Jared's.
Jared's described his on a show in a few words. I already know what Jared's is.
Okay, let's do Jared's then.
Okay.
We ready, Jared?
You ready to go?
Yeah.
So Jared's is a Star Wars story written by Jared Bachman Stubbs.
So I am the narrator for this.
You are going to narrate. I'm going to dole out these roles right now. I will need you to narrate. Does everybody have it pulled up? Because I shared it with everybody on Google.
No, where did you?
Do you want me to pull it up on the screen? Because I can pull it up on the screen.
No.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine.
No, I don't want anybody to be able to read ahead.
Okay.
So I'm going to say, Eli, once you get it pulled up, I need you to read the orange. Michael,
got it.
I'm going to have you read some green. Jerry, you're going to read blue. I got red. Scotty, you're narrating.
Okay.
Okay.
So, listen, did you send it to the email? Because I'm not.
I sent it to the Bombad email.
He sent it a long time ago. He sent it in the end of
I thought he resent it,
October.
I was trying to, but it wasn't letting me.
I wrote mine. I finished writing mine at the beginning of October as well. So
I finished mine like 3 days ago. You guys.
I finished mine 20 minutes before we started. So
here, wait a minute. Here, I'm resending it now. Now it's letting me. It was not letting me pull you.
Okay,
guys
you're all good. You're all good, bud.
So a few things. So we had Eli submit one.
Got it.
I had my buddy also Ian submit one. So I'm going to send him the link, and then we'll read Jared's, and maybe we'll go to Williams after that.
Yeah.
Jared, who did you
we do have one from Miss Taylor.
Yes, we do have one from Miss Taylor as well.
I was gonna say with the volume, better I just because I will just say this and I'll say this again before I read my story, but Michael's main note for me, because I asked Michael to give mine a look over and he was so kind as to do that. And his one note for me was, hey, we're gonna have a lot of Buck, I just saw Buck's comment. I am anyway. But it's gonna be fine. But yeah, so when Michael read my story, the one note he had for me was, "Hey, if we're gonna be reading this along with other ones, you probably want to shorten it down a little bit." And I'm like, "Yeah, you're right." So I decided to the full version without the stuff with the stuff I'm not that's not gonna be right here is now on YouTube on the In a Galaxy YouTube channel right now. And I encourage everybody to check it out. It's longer and it includes some great legacy characters that I have interacting with some people.
One thing I want to say, Jared, is this your first creepypasta or no? I don't
Yes,
remember.
I have been the guest on all 5 of these, and I am yet to submit a story until tonight.
Wow.
So tonight is my first time doing this, and it's a little
It's
long.
the first time we get to say, Jared, we ain't cool no more.
Yeah. This is a little long in the tooth, so I'm making up for waiting 5 years to do this.
Well, are y'all ready?
Yeah. Again, real quick, Scotty, you're narrating. Michael, you're green. Eli, you're orange. Jerry, you are blue, and I am red.
I still don't.
There's not a whole lot of dialogue, but there's enough to justify doing this.
Michael needs a copy.
Here, I'll resend it to
Mikey.
Where did you send it to?
All remaining systems.
Oh, okay. I'll get it pulled up there.
All right, let me take a sip of this Perrier. Nice.
Perrier.
And then we'll be good.
I'm taking a sip of my whiskey ginger.
Did you get that from Nikki?
I'm sipping on my candy corn beer.
Oh my God. Cancel me. Anyway, that wouldn't be hard. All right, here we go. You got it, Michael?
Yes, it is loading now.
The Chill by Jared Baughman Stubbs. Tarsi Bremen awoke breathlessly, overwhelmed by pain. The defunct compound being used by her Jedi brethren was uncovered by the Empire. Her physical senses were dulled by the pain of a dislocated shoulder, fractured ribs, and a shattered kneecap. Pain was nothing to a Jedi. Even a Padawan such as herself was capable of channeling the power of the Force to push through, but her connection to the Force, inexplicably, was failing her. She was overwrought with a sense of darkness and death. Despite the temperate climate of Ord Mantell, Tarsi was cold, a full-body chill that she couldn't shake. The cold feeling didn't feel natural. It was a cold she hadn't even felt on Ilum during her gathering ceremony. The deadly chill wasn't in her body. It had infected the Force itself. As her ears finished ringing, she came back to the present state. A volley of concussion missiles had collapsed the east wing of this bunker and trapped her in rubble. With a start, Tarsi remembered the other Jedi who were caught in the blast. She could make out their lifeless and mangled bodies underneath the rubble. More Jedi lives claimed by the Empire. She fought back her anger and rose to her feet and reclaimed her lightsaber. Her blade awoke with a snap hiss, and the green-white blade came to life. She began to stagger towards the more central part of the compound. The chill grew. It began to feel as though the ice was crystallizing in her blood. As she moved, the sound of conflict grew. Heavy blaster rifles rang out, answered by the sounds of plasma bolts ricocheting off of a lightsaber blade. Tarsi moved as quickly as her failing body would allow. When she reached the source of the noise, she watched as a young Bothan Jedi Knight's body had a hole blown clear through his midsection. He let out a raspy, gurgling death rattle as began to collapse, and Tarsi, relying fully on instinct, reached out with the Force to claim his sword as it clattered to the ground, immediately hurtling through the air and decapitated one of the troopers. As she leapt to her blade through the back of the trooper she had just seen killed the young Bothan. As the third trooper was coming out of a daze he was in from the melee, Tarsi propelled the still standing body of the trooper she impaled into his living comrade and closed in for the kill.
The rumors are true.
Tarsi began to spiral. There was a transmission broadcast to their holdout of another enclave of Jedi that had fallen on Corellia. The few survivors of the attack reported that the Empire had deployed a handful of black-clad clone soldiers and a contingent of saber-staff-wielding Dark Jedi. In this specific incident, they had also employed a Jedi hunter of some renown from that region. Other intelligence named this army of the Other intelligence named this arm of the imperial military, the Inquisitorius and their purge troopers. Everything in that communique from Corellia was true. The only unconfirmed element was the chill returned. For a brief moment, Tarsi wondered if she would be able to exhale and see her own breath. The cold was unbearable now. Her bones felt fatigued and brittle from it. As the pain from her injuries and the exhaustion began to weigh on her, a lightsaber roared to life. Behind her, and the smell of melting Durasteel filled the air as it whirled at her, calling on the Force yet again to steel herself. She narrowly evaded the crimson whirlwind of death as the masked warrior sprinted towards her, calling, and the saber staff back to its hand. Tarsi had never been in a real lightsaber duel. Such engagements were rare in her time. At least they were supposed to be. She remembered being little, hearing the tragic news of the death of Master Qui-Gon Jinn on Naboo, the first Jedi known to be killed by a Sith Lord in over 1,000 years. That cold-blooded murder was but the first in a long line of senseless Jedi deaths at the hands of the Sith. Tarsi fought, not just this Inquisitor, but to remember.
What was its name?
Her master, Mol Eliza, had tried to shield her from the details of the ongoing purge, but one detail from all the hidden away packs the Jedi kept coming up. A masked cyborg wielding a red lightsaber, seemingly invincible. Some sources reported that it was addressed as Lord something. Was this thing Sith? Grievous wasn't Sith, but Dooku was. And the understanding during the war was that Dooku served a man named Darth Sidious. But Tarsi knew that wasn't its name. Tarsi's mind wandered as she narrowly evaded her attacker. She was being overwhelmed and felt as though she would freeze to death. One of the few advantages of having your hideout bombed out was that the walls became easy to slip through, and if you knew where you were going, evasion became simple. As she slipped and scurried to the walls and corridors, she heard the heavy, almost drenched sound of the Inquisitor's lightsaber humming.
Lord Vader, most of the Jedi detected in the East Wing are dead. There is one more, a human. She seems to be a Padawan. If our intelligence was correct, she matches the description of Tarsi Bremen, Master Eliza's student. She has evaded me, but I sense that she is close.
Vader.
Tarsi spoke in something quieter than a whisper, to herself. As the name left her lips, somehow her body became even colder. Tarsi questioned if even a Wampa could survive the temperature her body was experiencing. Suddenly, the Inquisitor had looked in her direction, and his weapon erupted in a scarlet glow that covered the cramped access corridor. He rushed her, his lightsaber spinning faster than she could perceive, even with the Force. She instinctively tried to parry the blade away, but felt the blade bat hers away and define a purchase on her wrist. Her left hand tumbled away as she fell back. The Inquisitor began to laugh to himself.
You will face judgment for your treachery, Jedi scum.
Tarsi was trying to crawl backward away from the impending death as she spotted her potential escape. Some of the bunker's bulkhead and the internal processors were being held precariously up by wires, seeping in from the ceiling.
No!
Tarsi bellowed with a rage that she never felt before and called on the Force to wrench the wreckage down upon this Jedi killer, crushing him. As he was crushed to death like her Jedi comrades, she watched as all the bluster and bravado left him as he cried out like a coward as he died. Tarsi retrieved her lightsaber as she began to shiver. Then a voice in her mind called to her.
Tarsi, you're alive. Do what you must to escape this place.
Her master's voice sounded desperate, and she staggered through the compound. She heard lightsabers clashing. She felt nothing but death. Death and the chill. She moved as quickly as possible and found the source. She was on the catwalk above the central command station in this bucker and felt as though she had dropped into an icy river. Now the cold was beginning to render her motionless. Tarsi held onto the railing and gazed down, and she saw her master on one side, an elder Jedi, a human named Kemph, locked in a fierce duel with a being that can only be described as a living manifestation of death. The floor was strewn with fallen Jedi. Tarsi counted at least 8 of the 13 who were all hiding on Ormentel. Every single body was mangled and dismembered. Some missed their heads. Others had limbs missing with the dark wounds that their hearts had been arrested in their chest. Their killer exhibited a brutal precision, and despite his lumbering physique, he moved with a lethal grace and addressed Tarsi's master.
You have performed well, better than most of your fellow Jedi Master Elisa, but I'm tired of this contest. Surrender, and your death will be spared.
Somehow, even his voice managed to freeze the air around him as he smoothly transitioned to a ready stance, feet square with his shoulders and his blade held up and out.
We will never surrender to you, Sith. We may die, but the light lives on.
Mo Eliza spoke from beneath her mask. A middle-aged Keldor, she was as firm believer in the ideals of the Jedi as any of her fellow knights and masters. She stood more resolute than ever. Her blue-white blade hummed side by side with Master Kenph's as they melded with Vader's crimson casting the command center with a purge glow as dust and smoke clouded the chamber. Kemph re-engaged Vader, trying to overwhelm the towering monster with a sheer speed and dexterity. But each sword stroke was met with a joint-shattering parry. And when Mole tried to intervene, she was blasted aside with the force wave that took her clear off her feet into a pile of debris. Tarsi grasped and screamed, "Master!" Mole looked up, seeing her Padawan covered in blood, Carven scoring, and the soot as she heard Kenph's wail in agony. Vader got Kenph's blade in a bind and was able to wrench his lightsaber from his hand as Vader shunted him back towards and cut him across his stomach. Kenph's skin lost all of its color as he fell apart into 2 pieces on the ground, breathing quick, shallow breaths as life in the Force left his bisected course.
The apprentice.
Vader muttered. He reared back with Kenph's lightsaber and sent it flying through the supports on the catwalk, sending it plummeting to the ground. Somehow this compound became even colder the closer Tarsi came to Darth Vader. Mole Eliza rallied and attacked Vader.
Tarsi, run!
Tarsi tried to rise, insistent on aiding her master against the Sith Lord. Vader gave it no ground. Mole was desperate, and after nearly avoiding the 2 massive cleaving swings of Vader's lightsaber that would have taken her head, she had realized that this mechanical breathing meant that his suit was sustaining him, and that the control box in his chest may only be the one way to defeat the Dark Lord. Mole feigned a strike for his legs, and then fell back as Vader went to guard against it, leaving it open for Mole to plunge her lightsaber into the box. She drew back, and with only millimeters between the tip of the blade and the red and blue buttons on his chest, Vader snatched her wrists with his massive mechanical hand and crushed her frail Keldor bones.
I will not be the one drawing their last breath today, Jedi.
Vader's rage was immeasurable. As Mole's lightsaber clattered to the floor, he took her other arm off the shoulder and with his lightsaber and used his free hand to pry her respirator mask off by its tusk and flung her back with the Force. Tarsi could do nothing but watch as her master suffocated from the exposure to oxygen. The death was slow and agonizing. Master Eliza was able to speak or cry out for help. She was restricted to wheezing gas for air too toxic for her to breathe, with no way to clutch at her throat in distress. Her eyes became bloodshot, and she began to convulse uncontrollably. A guttural gagging, retched, was the closest Mole could come to a defiant scream as she died. Tarsi watched petrified as her master joined the force, and as she struggled to stand, she felt her hatred boil for the Sith Lord. Her master and her Jedi brothers and sisters would be avenged today. Vader would die. She summoned her lightsaber to execute Vader. Tarsi rose, and before she had even taken a step to face Vader, she realized that in the time it took her to engage him, he had appeared almost out of thin air and plunged his lightsaber into her heart. Tarsi met Darth Vader's gaze. She stared into a frigid, obsidian abyss of oblivion. The world around began to blur and fall out of focus, and the only sound she could clearly make out was the deep rhythmic rasp of mechanical breathing being drawn. Despite the searing, white-hot pain of a lightsaber in her chest, all Tarsi could feel was the cold embrace of death. Wow, Jared.
Damn, Jared.
That was dark, dude.
So is that guy Vader?
Excellent. That was beautiful.
It was
Wasn't that
simultaneously
Grievous?
less edgelordy than I thought it was going to be, and exactly as edgelordy as I thought it was going to be.
That was
That
pretty
was-
much the precise level of edgelord I thought it would be, and pretty much
No,
exactly
it
what
was
I thought
perfect.
Jared
That
would
was
do.
that was excellent.
That
I
was
fucking
really
loved
good.
it.
That was
Thanks for
really
giving
good.
me a fucking
Never
meaty
escaping
part,
the
dude.
allegations. No.
Man.
Also,
Yeah,
sorry,
gave you
Jared.
a meaty part. Most of my lines were like a single word.
Listen, I just
Jared,
wanted to justify me turning on voice mod to have a scary voice.
That was good.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
a- dude,
I will say, Jared, sorry to whoever you thought the Inquisitor is. It's Grand Quizzy now.
Yes.
Well, it was Grand Quizzy.
He smashed.
He got crushed to death.
Love it.
I think since year 2, I was like, I want to do a Darth Vader slasher.
It's good.
And
I think you mentioned wanting to write one on a previous episode we've done.
like every
good.
fucking time. But the one thing that like stuck out on my mind, something I wanted to do. Thank you, William. Was whenever the Acolyte was happening, I really badly thought that the Stranger was going to rip off that Keldor Jedi's mask. Because I was like, that seems way too gruesome a kill to leave on the floor.
Yeah.
And it didn't happen. And I was like, well, fuck it. I'm going to write the most scary fucking thing that could happen to a Keldor. And, and again, because my nerdy bullshit, Keldor have like really like brittle bones. So I was like, what's the scariest way you could do this? And I was like, your wrist gets crushed, so you just can't move your arm. The other one gets cut off. The mask comes off, and then
So you're just like
and you can't even go for the one bit of comfort, which is holding onto your throat if you're choking. Like, so it's just, you're just laying there, and just this idea of like, what is it like? Because to just watch, all you can do is watch as this is happening.
Brutal.
And one of my other favorite things of the new canon has been this idea that Vader's presence in the Force is so horrific that it just gives every Jedi nearby this like bone chilling. Like
I was gonna say, I love your emphasis on that. It is very reminiscent of
it was
Rebels,
awesome.
because
Rebels,
that's the thing that Ezra keeps bringing up is the cold.
I feel cold. Yeah.
Jared, good
Also,
shit, dude.
I also love the sound effects. It felt like we were in an old time radio play there. For
It
a
did,
second.
didn't it? You like that?
Yeah.
Jared suggested that. and
Jared, confirm one thing for me though.
Yep. Yeah, it's the Galaxy.
Well, Eliza. Yeah. Okay.
Yep. It was the Galaxy of Heroes default name, and there was a very loose reference to Ionized Bastards.
I was gonna say, was it Hawk Scuff as the Jedi Hunter?
Hawk Scuff is the Jedi Hunter of some renown from the region, and
I thought you were.
Fabian Martel is captured on Corellia, so he so that communique.
Oh,
that
I
they were
forgot that
reading-
happened on Corellia. Fuck.
That communique that they received is technically from Argo Kalen.
Man, that was good.
Little bit of Bastards tie-in. I
go.
restrained myself and didn't go all the way into some Bastards bullshit.
I restrained myself
the
this year
Bastards
too,
cinematic universe.
That was good.
I love it.
Do we want to maybe do a short, lighthearted one? Maybe Jerry's?
I got Williams too. Whatever you want to do.
Let's do them back to back.
Another way.
Okay.
Yeah.
We do back
A
to back.
little bit of a chaser after.
Yeah, we'll do back to back.
Yeah, we need a palate.
Strangulation.
We need a palate cleanser between Jared's and mine. So let's do
Yeah.
Okay. Want to do Williams or mine? I was gonna say I'm fine either way. So
Chat. Let's have the chat. Let's do Williams. Okay, I'll read Williams.
Williams or okay. All right.
All right, here we go. This is Williams has always been a tradition of being really funny and really ties in with the show and the goofiness of the show. So this is hopefully
And
it
we
is
need
the same
that.
vein. We do. This one's called The Curse of the Last Show. I'm gonna laugh at this whole thing. I know I am.
I already know.
It was supposed to be a night to remember. Fans pack into a New Orleans' oldest and eeriest theater for the Frey's final performance. And though excitement rippled through the crowd,
Where did they go wrong?
a strange cold tension hung in the air. Stories about the theater's dark history, mysterious deaths, strange figures in the shadows, and eerie sounds at midnight flickered through the conversations. People laughed it off, though. It was the Frey's last show, and nobody was going to miss it. As the lights dimmed, the audience cheered. The Frey took the stage, and as they started playing, Isaac Slade glanced nervously towards the back of the theater. He didn't know why, but something was wrong. In the distance, the faint jingle of an ice cream truck drifted into the theater. It wasn't just any truck. It wasn't just any truck, though. Eric Cotman's Icy-Mobile was infamous around town. People said its owner had a wild look in the eye, and he sold strange, questionable treats. Right, though, Cotman had something special. The music throbbed as the truck pulled up outside, its grimy, graffiti-smeared sides gleaming in the dark. Icy-Mobile was scrawled in uneven red letters, looking too much like streaks of dry blood. Eric Cotman himself emerged, a shadowy figure in the night, lugging a massive tub of something that made even the rowdiest fans quiet down. He walked through the crowd, his eyes unblinking and wild as he handed out small containers of mayonnaise.
Do it.
What's the mayonnaise?
People looked at the tubs, then at each other,
Joke.
laughing nervously. But a brave man in the old front row took a fingerful, tasting the strange, oily mayonnaise. Instantly, his eyes rolled back, his pupils stretching until they were solid black. He fell forward, moaning as his body convulsed. The crowd watched, horrified and frozen, as he staggered up upright, a blank, soulless smile on his face.
Oh no.
One by one, others tasted the black-eyed mayonnaise, falling into the same spell.
The black-eyed mayonnaise.
An eerie, unified groan filled the room as their eyes went dark and their expressions twisted in ecstasy and agony all at once. Then the lights on the stage flickered, and Isaac's mic dropped with a metallic clatter. The band stood frozen, horrified, staring out at hundreds of blank, black-eyed faces. That's when he appeared, out of nowhere. A strange, familiar figure shuffled onto the stage. Jar Jar Binks. But something was different. His eyes were empty hollows. His grin stretched too wide. His skin an ashen, unnatural gray. Misa gonna make y'all real happy tonight, he hissed. His once innocent voice distorted into something dark. I should have said it differently. So it's gonna Misa gonna make y'all real happy tonight. He hissed. His once innocent voice distorted into something dark, inhuman. He leaned over Isaac, placing a clawed hand on his shoulder. Isaac tried to pull away, but his body wouldn't obey. His eyes were wide with terror as Jar Jar whispered something into his ear. Something dark and incomprehensible. Isaac dropped to his knees, his face twisted in a silent scream. Jar Jar raised his arms, commanding the crowd like some unholy preacher. They responded, lifting their mayonnaise tubs and chanting in an ancient twisted language. Black liquids seeped from their mouths, staining their clothes, pooling on the floor in oily puddles. The theater walls seemed to close in, alive with the crowd's energy. At the back of the theater, a lone figure watching, the ice cream vendor, Eric Kahneman. His smile was twisted with satisfaction as he leaned against the wall, reveling reveling in the chaos. Suddenly, the door slammed shut, trapping everyone inside. The shadows deepened, casting twisted, moving figures on the walls. The theater equipment crackled and hissed, warping the once familiar melody into something dark, corrupted. Just as darkness seemed unstoppable, a faint light appeared over the city. Outside, high above the Little Caesar Superdome, a lone figure stood silhouetted against the stormy night. It was Drew Brees. When he heard this strange curse spreading through his city, he'd come prepared, armed with something stronger than any weapon, an old football that glowed with a fierce golden light. He held it tightly, feeling the weight of the city's spirit within. Every cheer, every victory, every heartbeat of New Orleans itself. A dark energy snaked towards the Superdome, casting a shadow across the buildings, creeping through the streets. But Drew had no intention of running. He looked over the city he loved, then back to the source of the curse, Jar Jar Binks, who now leered at him from the shadowy edge of the Superdome, his hollow eyes glowing in the dark. You think you can stop me? Jar Jar taunted with his voice echoing unnaturally. You so will fail, Drew Brees.
What a whopper of a sentence.
After somebody explained the piece of
no,
lore.
We're not done. Drew raised the football, gripping it tightly. His heart pounded, but his voice was steady. This city fought harder than things. Oh, this is such a good line. I messed it up. Drew raised the football, gripping it tightly. His heart pounded, but his voice was steady. This city's fought harder things than you. And he said with his eyes fierce, and tonight we're going to win. With every ounce of strength, Drew launched the glowing football into the sky and streaked the darkness like a meteor, flooding the Superdome with blinding light. The people below gasped as the golden glow spread through the city, pushing back the shadows and breaking the curse. In a final act of sacrifice, Drew lunged forward, grabbing Jar Jar and pulling him to the heart of the Superdome. They tumbled downward, disappearing into the glowing abyss. This is the football exploded into a burst of radiant energy, sending waves of light cascading over the city. Back in the theater, the cursed crowd of black-eyed concertgoers began to shake, the darkness loosening its grip as the cursed mayonnaise melted away. Their blackened eyes returned to normal, their expressions transferring from blank horror to confusion, then relief. The walls of the theater stopped pulsing, and the air lightened as the dark energy finally evaporated. The Fray stumbled off stage, exhausted but alive. Isaac took over the crowd, and the reality of what had just happened settling in. He whispers to himself, how to save a life. Outside, the people of New Orleans looked to the sky. The storm had cleared, and the night returned to its calm, quiet state. But Drew Brees was gone, sacrificed to save his city in its darkest hour. That night, legends spread across New Orleans. People spoke of the hero who had faced the curse and the nightmares that nearly consumed the city. In a small haunted theater, the Fray packed up their instruments, knowing they witnessed something beyond words. And at the top of the Little Caesar Superdome, a new message was lit in the marquee, shining down on the city Drew had saved. Drew Brees, forever in our hearts. God damn, William, that was good.
You want to think if like Isaac and the rest of the Fray were wondering where did I go wrong? Yeah.
Man. Okay, so Eli, let's get you caught up. Every year, William has submitted a new version of these stories.
No, I've heard the stories before. There's one thing I have to ask. Who is Drew Brees and what's the mayonnaise got to do anything with it?
All right.
Well, the
Eli's
mayonnaise
off the
again. I
stream.
just don't know.
Eli's kicked off officially kicked off the stream. Done. He saved us from Hurricane Katrina. Eli.
That's our savior. Okay,
that is the man. That
Drew
is the
Brees is the or at least I think was the quarterback for the New Orleans Saints.
He was our hero. Drew Brees did. Drew Brees did what you two tried to do with Green Day. Okay, the Saints.
Hey, Green Day did pretty good.
The Saints are coming. Okay, Drew. If it wasn't for Drew Brees, none of us would be sitting here right now. Just being honest here. William, round of applause. Beautiful.
Hats off to you.
Hats off to William. Always knocks on the park every year. That was
and a
wonderful.
Nice reprieve after Jared made us all sad.
Yes, very good reprieve. Okay, so let's keep it going, Jerry. I want to hear yours.
Maybe Drew Brees could have said Mona Lisa.
I was gonna say, actually, if we want to alternate, we might want to do another spoopy one, and then
let's do a spoopy one.
I was gonna say, do you want to save a little bit of I don't know.
Let's
man,
do Jerry's first. Let's do Jerry's.
All right, let's
It's
do
okay.
Jerry's.
It's all good. It's all good. We good? Okay. All right.
Let's do it.
So, this little tale that I wrote 20 minutes before we got on air is called The Theory of Fingers. Edgar crammed on the gas as the light idled yellow and bled into crimson. He could handle the honking, dirty looks, and middle fingers held aloft out of Camry driver's side windows. But he'd be damned if he missed Star Wars night with his little bro. Burke was the youngest of his 4 siblings, Edgar himself being the oldest by 15 years. Burke had been one of those happy accidents that happen later than expected in a couple's relationship. At least that's how his douchebag of a father described it. But Edgar loved his little brother more than he feared the traffic ticket. Recently, they had made a plan to start watching the Star Wars movies since Burke had yet to take in their glory. So starting tonight, All Hallows Eve, they would watch one of the films every Thursday till Burke had experienced the rise and fall of the Empire. Machete order, of course. And none of those new Disney woke movies either. Only the best for his little bro. Screaming into the driveway,
Star Wars
Edgar
movies?
threw. Shh, we're reading, young Eli. Screaming into the driveway, Edgar threw open his door and leaped up the front steps. Burke was waiting for him at the front door wearing a Darth Maul mask. Jesus, Edgar hissed as he entered the vestibule. You scared the hell out of me, kid. Darth Maul's the only cool thing about that movie anyway, Edgar jeered his younger sibling. The clips of Jar Jar I've seen on YouTube look pretty funny, Burke defended. You just think that because you're 12, Edgar laughed. Let's just get started. Let's get started with the one that began it all, A New Hope. You'll see what I mean. It's pretty good. There's a boring lightsaber fight that someone recreated to make more badass, but we can watch that after.
Not scene 38.
Adjourning. Listen.
This is the scariest thing I've ever heard in my life.
Adjourning to the basement rumpus room where the VCR and ancient tube television slumbered, Edgar grabbed the old VHS and fed it to the decaying machine. After taking a second to adjust the tracking, Edgar took a seat by Burke, grabbing a handful of popcorn as he plopped onto the floral printed love seat. Just wait, he said. You're going to be changed forever. A long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away. The letters lit the room electric blue for a moment, then darkness and a pregnant pause. Ba-da-da-ba-da-da-ba-da-ba-bum. Antiquated space-age letters turned the chamber gold as the opening crawl flew past them. All was right in the world. Edgar watched Burke's reaction to the spacecraft that wouldn't end out of the corner of his eye, and a tear fell down the opposite cheek. This is what it was all about, he thought. All is right with the world. Hell, the universe. That is, until Vader made his dramatic entrance. Edgar couldn't quite place it, but it felt off. Vader was clearly Lord Vader, but the angles of his helmet were nonsensical. There were somehow too many lines and not enough. Odd. Maybe this old VHS had finally had it. Edgar shrugged it off and kept watching. Nothing was going to ruin Johnson this moment. Nothing. But things only got more bizarre.
That was a good one.
That was so fucking funny.
That was so subtle. Holy shit.
But things only got more bizarre. None of the faces looked right.
Yeah.
Every single person on screen was setting off alarms in Edgar's lizard brain. It was like the uncanny valley, thought Edgar. Faces were not deformed, but off just enough to keep Ed in a state of unease. Leia's hand had one too many fingers wrapped around her blaster. The eyes of Vader's helmet were too close. Then came the too wide smile of Han Solo. It went all but to his ears, and the teeth. There were so many. Too many. And his eyes were wide and full of wild rage. I can't do this anymore, cried Edgar. Something's wrong. Someone changed this tape. Somehow I don't know who or what or why, but you're scaring me, Eddie, cried Burke. But it's wrong. Do they look why do they look like that? Why do they look like things masquerading as people? What the fuck? The abominations on screen barely moved and didn't move their mouths when they talked. They slightly waved their 12-fingered hands like odd trees in a gentle breeze.
Oh, wait.
Why would someone do this? Who would do this? What the hell? I would, slithered a voice from the darkness. What the hell? Screeched Edgar. Dad, this isn't funny. What did you do? I'm not your dad, croaked the voice in the dark. I changed your movie. I improved it. Made it better. It's from my script. Who the hell are you? Show yourself. A man slunk out of the shadows. Edgar had to shield his eyes from the glare of his bald head that reflected the dull glow of the tube.
Oh my God, he's doing it.
I changed all of your movies, he hissed. Made them better and less woke. What are you talking about? These were perfect, cried Edgar. There's always room for improvement in everything. Even your life, your family. Eddie? Burke whimpered. I'm scared. He reached out and grabbed Edgar's hand. Edgar realized that he had 12 fingers grabbing his hand. He looked down and shrieked in horror. What's wrong, Eddie? Burke gurgled out through an ever-widening maw of hundreds and hundreds of rows of teeth. Come on, Edgar. The stranger sneered through a grin that spanned the entire circumference of his chrome dome. Join us. Become one with my script. Better than the original.
That was amazing.
That was
Jerry.
Into you the theory of fingers.
Oh, that's so creepypasta, though. Jerry's the best of the creepypasta like narrative.
You get to the
That
heart
is
of what you actually set out to do with this episode with the creepypastas.
Yeah,
like
dude.
it
You
is
gotta have, like,
no
there's
internet
only one
horror.
thing left missing at the end, which was, of course, don't forget to like and subscribe.
Oh,
Yeah, all that was
we'll
missing
say
was
that
you
later.
shilling $600 piece of shit lightsabers.
Oh, see, yeah, that's the thing. Like
Wouldn't
I
it be
wanted to
crazy
go.
if some YouTubers made their entire career out of doing that? Wouldn't it be crazy?
Anyway, we want
Well,
to
that would
announce
be
Bombad lightsabers for the low price of $2,396.
Bombad bucks.
Yeah, I'll sell you this for $500. So there you go.
Jerry, that
Yeah.
was beautiful. Very
Thank you.
creepypasta. That's what I like about it. You always make it a creepypasta where we all make scary stories. You make it a creepypasta every time.
You got to have that little bit of internet flavor to it. You got to have just a
Yes.
little bit.
Yeah,
And
no,
so,
absolutely.
The names were perfect. Burke, I love it. You just don't hear
Edgar
those
and
names
Burke.
anymore. Edgar and Burke. But I also love the the energy of that guy, man. Machete order, of course.
You're not supposed to like it because this is a horror story. Most horror stories have a protagonist that is kind of a bad person. They kind of deserve. This is the kind of horror where the main character deserves the fate that they're getting. And so there you go. Anyway, I'm a master of horror and comedy.
In my mind's eye, like Theory or whoever this person was, put it through an AI like enhancer or something. Is that what happened?
Theoretically, that's what
he would
have done.
Yeah.
His magical, his horrific power was that he basically turns things into AI. Like he was. So the movie had become just a distorted version of reality, which is what AI is anyway.
Yes.
And then it slowly bled out onto the couch into his little brother.
Yeah.
And so,
imagine if somebody were trying to do that like right now.
It's insane. Yeah. But that was the whole. It was absolutely a dig. Have you guys ever heard of Star Wars Theory? He's kind of an asshole.
No.
It was.
I don't have a 12,000 word document sitting right in front of me right now.
So our next one. So we've got 3 more, but also my buddy, future published writer Bo Thomas Newman sent a story. I can read his. It's more of a synopsis, if we're going to be honest. But
can I take a quick potty break real quick? I'll be
take a quick potty break. That's fine. We'll play some clips.
Breaky for you.
We'll play some clips. We'll be back. We'll all take a real quick break. We'll be back in a moment, y'all.
Let's hit it.
I'm trying to find one clip in particular.
I was just say we're gonna do Andy Warhol 4 minutes or Russian Cat.
I was thinking of a 2-minute one.
We better have West Bank in there. I was listening to the
Russian Cat's 3 minutes.
I'm just gonna play Popeye.
Had a little bit of money, so the Lord did me good. Got all kind of shit. Got the glow sticks. I got the gotcha bag. Got the Hawaiian punch. Man, everybody won't holler at Pop what you need. I got it. If I ain't got it, I can find it. You understand? I'm selling glow sticks. Glow sticks that go with the You know what I'm saying?
Here's some more New Orleans ones.
Imagine Seth Green loose on the floor of the Dome in front of more than 70,000 screaming, yelling, chinging fans. So what's it like to be Seth Green tonight?
The spirit is amazing. Cha-ching!
We talked to that man about that. How wild.
I like
Where can you go for family fun? Let's go to Pontchartrain Beach. Good, clean, wholesome family fun. Let's go to Pontchartrain Beach.
The first time I saw that one.
Been seen Pontchartrain Beach?
When we talk about crawfish, we talk about boiled crawfish, we talk about jambalaya, we talk about crawfish bread, we talk about crawfish pasta, crawfish etouffee, crawfish wrap, and crawfish jubilee.
Go Tigers!
Go Tigers!
You gotta play the most New Orleans of them all, which is this one.
Well, howdy, how y'all doing today?
What are you doing with that on your head?
It keeps the voices in.
You mean out?
No, it keeps them in.
No, you mean out.
It keeps them in.
Out.
In.
Out.
In.
Give me that.
You let them out, you put them back.
I'm scared of that. I ain't.
Y'all ever watch Dracula Flow?
Yes.
All the
Shit ain't
time.
nothing to me, man.
Jerry, I just sent you a text if you could check it. So
fine.
we have a submission. I want Jerry to read this next one because I'm honestly tired of reading. My throat, my tongue feels it's gonna fall out. This
Luckily,
one is from
2 of the ones we have left are read by both of us. So
perfect. Bo Thomas Newman is, and we got Miss Taylor's too, which I think I might get Jerry to read.
Well,
Jerry,
she wants me to read that one. And I'm also now leaning towards reading my own. So
Mike. Okay, all right. So this one's from Bo Thomas Newman. He's a good friend of mine. He's going to be a published writer in the near future for a story he's been working on since we were in high school together. So Jerry, if you don't mind reading this one, he wants to do a Star Wars like short film project with me in some capacity. He lives in Hollywood. He's a good friend and a good connect to have. Let me actually text him that we're going to read his story. Yeah, Jerry, whenever you are. He's my buddy Bo is into he's into cowboys and westerns. He's he's been into that sort of thing for a very long time. So his story has more of an outlaw feel to it. Well, at least the synopsis does, which is Jerry's going to read right now.
All right, here we go. The synopsis by Bo Thomas Newman. In a distant corner of the galaxy, a gang of ruthless outlaws is hunted by the relentless forces of the Empire. Fleeing their latest heist, they plunge deep into the lawless reaches of the Outer Rim, hoping to escape the Empire's grip. But their journey leads them to an uncharted, desolate world on the fringes of the unknown regions, a place where even the galaxy's most hardened criminals would not dare tread. The planet, cloaked in perpetual gloom, is littered with ancient wreckage. Derelict ships, technology from countless eras, stretching back hundreds of years, a graveyard of lost voyagers and fated empires. It hums with an eerie silence, like a grave waiting for its next occupants. Against their better judgment, some among the gang venture out to scavenge for parts and explore, hoping to find a hidden treasure or remnants of some old technologies. But the planet is far from lifeless. As they delve deeper into the twisted labyrinth of wreckage, they uncover signs of a dark presence, a primordial entity called Mengal. This Lovecraftian horror, a sentient, shape-shifting ooze with a boundless hunger, is capable of consuming anything in its path. In the dim recesses of the crashed ships, it lurks, lying dormant until their arrival stirs it from its slumber. One by one, the gang begins to realize they're not alone as Mengal makes its presence known through the horrifying transformations and insidious infiltration of their ranks. The creature's touch infects, consumes, and mimics the flesh, leaving the survivors to question who among them has fallen under its control. Paranoia and dread seep into the group, as each member must now navigate not only the peril of the planet, but the terrifying reality that they can no longer trust one another. As Mengal's influence spreads, the outlaws are forced into a brutal fight for survival, desperate to escape from desperate to escape before the entity's hunger devours them all. But on this planet, time and space bend to its will, and the exits seem to vanish as soon as they are found. Only the most ruthless, most cunning, or perhaps most self-sacrificing of them may stand a chance against this ancient evil. In a galaxy filled with monstrous warlords and galactic empires, Mengal remains an unspeakable terror beyond anything the Empire could unleash. A terror that, if it were to escape this planet, would threaten all life in the galaxy. As the survivors' numbers dwindle, it becomes clear not everyone will make it out alive. In the end, they will either triumph as heroes or become the latest souls to haunt the wreckage of a cursed world. It's wonderful. I like Star Wars meets The Thing. I like it.
Yes, yeah, and that's kind of what. Yes,
because the thing is one of my all-time favorite movies. Period.
I didn't know that, Jerry. Okay,
I love The Thing.
I didn't know that.
Like the night, specifically the John Carpenter remake.
Of course, yeah, that one's
John Carpenter
amazing.
remake.
That's good. Yeah, Bo, good friend of mine. Him and I talk often.
Love it, Bo.
But Bo is writing an awesome Western right now, and it's going to be an epic. And he's been writing it literally since we were in high school together and college.
That's beautiful.
So is him and I have talked about Star Wars stuff for a long time, and he loves The Mandalorian. He loves all those aspects of Star Wars. So this is kind of where he wants to see it go, which I agree. We do need more horror in Star Wars. I don't know about y'all, but we need more.
Absolutely.
Like I know the High Republic's very good about doing that. So
Visions too.
Visions as well. That's right.
Good.
Visions has got it.
PVW was very good at doing it.
Mm-hmm. Well, who wants to go next? We've got Miss Taylor's story. We've got Eli's story and Michael's
I would
story.
recommend I read Taylor's story next. That way I can give my voice a rest before I do my story.
Yeah. Let's
Okay.
do
Let
that.
me. I have an image for Miss Taylor's story.
I've got it pulled up here in my email. So.
Oh! I was just gonna put the image on the screen.
Okay, if you want to do that.
Yeah, hold on. Let me get it pulled up so I can actually
Here we go.
Hold on. I'm gonna get a screenshot and put on here.
I'm excited to hear it. I know nothing about Miss Taylor's story.
Really?
Nothing.
I have very broad concepts, but no actual
Concept
You
of
have
a
the concept
plan?
of plan. Damn it.
Damn,
Concept
your
of
ass, Michael.
But you are all so fucking libbed up. It's so goddamn annoying.
All right, here we go.
Woke?
Yes, so woke. You're gonna
This would
start
happen if
singing
you would
history-
just not vote for Trump, man. Come on.
Dude, listen. I'm just waiting for somebody to start singing "History Has Its Eyes on You" while I'm at the fucking ballot box.
Anyway.
All right.
All right.
I love all of you.
Alone. You had a small crew on a decent-sized rebel freighter, but you've been in a free-floating space for some time. Longer now than it seems. Your calendar was broken some time ago as your shift drifted freely through some freak electromagnetic force storm or something that knocked out the power to the ship. How fast it all happened. Your memory was fuzzy. Everything was so far away in your memory. You think you remember being the pilot for that. You think you were here on your own. And here when you radioed the crew that a storm surge appeared and you didn't have time to move but to brace yourselves. But that was a while ago. Blinking, still looking forward into endless stars, galaxies scattered, forming universes you could not even imagine, displayed across the 4-panel viewing port. Time seemed to pass differently when you weren't bound to the rising and falling of a sun or moon. You wondered how long you've been sitting here in the cockpit, staring into infinity and the most beautiful storm of stars, clouds, dust, and debris that looked so small. It was more awe-inducing than you could have ever imagined. We were passing through the Alderaan system. The thought was fleeting, fast enough to wave off. Wherever you were now was certainly not Alderaan. There would have been a planet to the Alderaan system. Whatever electromagnetic force storm surge disrupted the greater hyperspace rift that ran through the inner core of whatever system you spun out in. Your ship was floating out in free space, just coming to a crooked stop in sight range of the storm surge dust and debris field. You've never seen anything like this. The force of the surge must have stunned you, must have stunned the crew. Your crew had come to check on you when the ship's emergency power generator powered on after the turbulent surge, but you couldn't remember how long it's been since you've seen any of them. Passing through the Alderaan system. That's the last thing you read before everything was both blinding light and liminal darkness. Then nothing. Your crew had been chatting up the comms while the ship free floated with backup power through the field of dust and debris and colors and patterns entirely unfamiliar to any of you. You remembered someone remarking about how beautiful it all was. Pinks and blues and patterns like rapid waterfalls dancing through the inky blackness and the flashes of stars. Splashing clouds of white and yellow against both time and space. You wondered if that was the greatest storm surge any pilot ever came out alive. But you couldn't remember how long ago that storm surge actually happened. Get up. Your hands trembled as the pins and needles shot through your body. How long have you been here? The fear that crept into your spine and up your back was a feeling of utter loneliness, like you were the only one alone in the universe. You pry your eyes from the storm surge and the viewports. Prying yourself from the thinly padded leather of the cockpit, you gripped the console and backrest for support. Your legs trembled as they carried weight for what felt like the first time, maybe in days, maybe longer than that. Impossible. You brush off the thought. Dim, flashing red lights indicated the hallways would have at least a better quality of light than the darkness of the cockpit lit only by the stars. Your blood pounded loudly in your ears as if you needed any more distraction than the thumping in your head. The halls were dark and dank, musty without the ventilation system working properly. your bare hand pressed against the frigid metal wall of the ship as your ankles and calves were the last to regain feeling from the numbness, the pain of pins and needles in your muscles that slowed your every move, your shaking breath like mist from your lips as you heaved along slow from fatigue. Where are they? Why is it so dark? Why is it so quiet? Why do I feel so alone? You realize that somewhere along, hi Deuces, somewhere along your hobbling, you had lost your flight jacket as you stumbled through the dusty halls lit by flashing red lights and darkness where it seemed they burned out. Maybe you took the jacket off before you got up. Maybe you didn't have it on. The shadows cast around you in a heartbeat rhythm in time with the red alert emergency lights attributed to your dizziness. The halls felt like they were spinning despite the ship being in free float, hardly moving at all. Those bulbs usually last months. Must be defective. You know you have to blame it on a shoddy supply shop that has no business selling ship parts on a desert planet. But it was so long ago, the woman who owned the shop, her wrinkled face was too fuzzy to make out in your memory. Her voice shrill but dull as you tried to recall her name. Could you remember so far back? How long ago could it have been? We've only been out here a few weeks at most, you thought to yourself as you finally reached the first room on the ship where your pared back crew would sleep. 2 rows of 3 bunks, only 4 being occupied when you left on your last planet. Only 3 other members of the crew. See, you remember. They probably just all overslept. The numbness in your legs was forgotten as the world stopped spinning for just a moment. You rushed into the quarters. You took in a deep breath of stale air to call their names, to wake them up, but caught like glass in your lungs was the realization you couldn't remember their names. Your eyes were wide as you start hyperventilating, trying so desperately to calm yourself. You made your heart race more. No one was in here, not a single bed occupied, empty. Dust was sitting stagnant for longer than ever anticipated on the bed, mimicking the dust settled on the cockpit control panel. Empty. Perfectly made. No signs they were ever asleep to begin with. No signs anyone was here. Empty. You would scream, but you can't even think of who to curse. Your throat seemed so dry, too dry to make noise. You remembered the feeling akin to getting sand in your throat. You tried to call out, "Someone!" The voice cried out a shriveled shriek. "Is anyone?" Cracking like you hadn't spoken in days. You stumble out of the quarters you know someone should be in, gasping for air as your heart raced ceaselessly, eyes wide in shadows, dark and red as your eyes stared down, trying to make sense of the emptiness. You stumbled even faster. As you tried running down the halls, you knew the escape pods were just off this section. If you could get there, you could find out if they left you. Why would they leave you? Your body slammed into the hollow metal as you frantically reached the end of the corridor, eyes darting from the doors to the control panels to the darkness and over again. Your mind raced with thoughts too fast to make out against the thumping of your heart. The stillness seemed even eerier here. Each pod empty, present for flight, ready to go wherever you needed. So where was your crew? You remembered the storm. You remember the electromagnetic force storm surge. You flew through a sudden flash of pink, blue, white, and a flash of nothing but inky darkness in your viewport. Go! Your small freighter. You were moving a small shipment of weapons to a rebel outpost and using core hyperspace shipping lanes as a cover. Aching legs wobbled as you stared through the nearest viewport. Your eyes locked into the endless swirling storms of pink and white. It was amazing. Something you imagined a painter or artist would have traded the world for a glimpse. They'd be better to describe it than you. Is death this beautiful? The thought surprised you, like a voice outside yourself, even though you knew it was your own. It was not death that was frightening in this moment of awestruck beauty. You didn't know if you were really afraid in this moment. You simply stared forward, utterly enraptured by the storm before you. I need to find someone. Stumbling, running, whatever your best attempt, you see no evidence that your crew abandoned you, but they were also nowhere on the ship. You staggered for hours as you briefly examined your shoes, soles worn from ceaseless walking. You never stopped searching since you left the cockpit again. Your thighs quivered from exhaustion, but you could not seem to get yourself to stop. Not while someone has to be there. Not while someone has to be left. I can't be here alone. Buckle to your knees as you finally made it to your cockpit again. You have walked the length of the ship more times than you could count, legs burning from exertion and your apparent dehydration based on the sharp glassiness when you close your mouth. You need to sit back down. You need control. You need to get help. You need to tell someone about the storm. You need someone to know you're still here. You flick switches as you stumble toward the front, hoping for some whirring to life from the ship's silence. It couldn't be that you were out of fuel. Your breathing labored as the soft noise was the only sound in your ears. Your heart was still pounding deep in your chest, but the noise had faded away. You stared forward into the storm surge. Your body felt heavy as you plopped against the lightly cushioned, cold leather seat. For the first time, you felt truly, utterly alone. Like maybe you were the only person wafting, free-floating through the entire galaxy. Maybe you were already dead. Maybe you've just been dreaming. Maybe it's okay. Maybe death is more quiet. You smirked at the thought as your eyes locked on the beautiful flashes and lights. Maybe this is nice. Ceaselessly staring forward into the stars, the dust, the pinks and blues, bright white clouds and dots crashing like waves against an open yellow and orange tsunami. Being dead can't be so bad if this is what I get to see. A cold tear escaped your eye as you stared forward. Despite knowing how alone you were, it was no longer lonely. The smile played at the edge of your lips as you took in the storm in front of you. Beautiful.
Holy shit, Miss Taylor.
That was heavy. That was crazy.
I think Taylor wins this creepypasta, so cheers to you.
I'm starting to think that, yeah. Cheers to Miss Taylor.
Wow, winner, chicken dinner. That was beautiful. That was really beautiful.
That was
hauntingly
astonishing.
beautiful.
That was astonishing.
Man. Jared, how do you feel about it? That's your person right there who wrote that.
I know. I'm a little freaked out.
Well, I mean, really, how did you feel? I thought it was brilliant.
It was incredible. I'm like I'm like trying really hard to focus on how good it was, but I'm so unnerved by the good of it.
I'm just glad this didn't. To me, this is not one of those stories that depends on a reveal. Where like every other creepypasta this entire night, Snoke was mine. I know Drew Brees was Williams. Jared's was Vader. You know, and Jerry's was Theory. Like all of ours, that all kind of like hindered on a reveal of some sorts. But Taylor's was really just from the idea of like death being obviously a very scary experience, especially in this scenario. But actually, the
remove
view
some things. That doesn't even have to be a Star Wars story. It's just a great story.
And also, I really like the second person narration where it's viewed this, and I think having that kind of like blank slate protagonist is very rare in fiction writing, and it works so well here for the creepypasta format.
It adds to the surreality of this scenario of like, where the fuck did everybody go? Like, you know, it adds to that. Like there's nothing. There's nothing. It's like the whole point of the story is oblivion. You know, like
and playing on the destruction of Alderaan, like it has such potential for a horror idea, and it's very quickly brushed over in A New Hope when they get out of hyperspace and they're like, well, there ain't no Alderaan here. Let's just get the fuck out. You know?
Yeah.
Man, that was beautifully done.
With Caduceus like meowing every now and then, it felt a little like Alien.
Yeah.
Just a little.
Caduceus, you were pretty spooked too, buddy.
Like Ripley recalling her journey.
It felt like felt like Ripley, like waking up like in space.
No, Taylor, that was shocking and astonishingly good.
God, I love that. This is a good comment. Fantastic. It's also someone who
piloting
in hyperspace during the moment the Death Star literally, but they couldn't know that.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. It was like they got like they're that one in a bajillion chance.
Yeah.
That you are passing anywhere near Alderaan when that blast hits, that it would logically like disrupt and just I don't want to say I don't like it because it was incredible.
I
very
loved
good.
It.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
So
Honey, I
we
think I'm
should
sleeping in the
do.
living room because I am profoundly unnerved. Yeah.
I think we should do Eli's next.
Hug your
and,
Lightyear.
Go right ahead. Yeah, mine's a little long, so
I forgot he was there. I forgot
your
Buzz was
Lightyear.
there.
He's like,
that was a
thank
warning
God.
for her story.
Oh, thank
goddammit.
It was.
Let's see. I wonder if we can put it. I might be able to drop it in the. Hold on.
It's just audio, but I put like a little graphic on the. I could just like if you need a little time,
Hold
like,
on.
I could just preface the
I-
story a little bit.
This is it's too large of a file. Let me see what I can do. I can preface it real quick. That's fine.
Okay, yeah. Well, so I mentioned earlier that my background behind me, because I like doing this, has something to do with my story. It's the location that it takes place. And this story takes place 37 years before the Battle of Yavin.
37 years before the
That
Battle
was
of Yavin.
5 years before the Phantom Menace. That was chosen very, very carefully.
Okay.
Is this going to be a question in one of the next?
Will this be on the test?
Is this going to be on the test? That's what I want to know.
No, obviously not. No.
Okay.
This
All right, yeah,
like
fine.
This features like this is very much me being like, okay, I came up with the idea, and then I quickly contextualized that idea, and very excited. I will also add there's an extended version on the Star Wars in the Galaxy YouTube channel that plays with some more legacy characters that I didn't get to in this, and I can explain afterwards. But yeah.
Yeah, and I do recommend you check out that version because I've read the full thing and I think it's pretty neat.
Very nice.
Thanks, Michael.
Is that the full version you're putting on your bookshelf right now? Damn.
Yeah.
That's insane. Very cool.
The full version. Yeah, I was. There is in the full version. Not only is there my ham-fisted James Lucino title thing that I put in there, there is also a mention of Scotty's favorite Star Wars word.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I do it. I do what the Bad Batch didn't mostly.
You say the word. We say the word here.
We say the word. We say
it.
We say the M word, and
I almost had something Tarsi something cold in her midi-chlorians, and I was like,
I was gonna say,
I'm fucking pandering.
Don't call it the M word.
I was like, I'm pandering.
Yeah. We're pandering.
Oh, I definitely was pandering a little bit, but it is. I think I use it okay.
I would have loved if you said the M word. That'd been awesome. Just say the M word.
Say it. Just say it.
Say the M word, dude.
Say the M.
Mother, there is no other like mother, so treat her right.
Yeah,
All
that's
right.
the M word. That's the M word we were talking about. Sorry.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Let's get Eli's story pulled up. This is
Yeah.
it. So it's an audio format. So it's going to be playing. And let me see if I can fix our. I wonder if I could. Well, I bet I could still play it with it in the background. Yeah, here we go.
Yeah.
Try. Let me know this works, y'all. Here we go.
Wait, actually, sorry, I just forgot one more thing. So, I divide this up into sections. The section changes each time a perspective switches.
Okay.
So this is sections 1, 2, and 4. 3 and 5 are in the extended version.
Okay. Okay.
Release
Here we
the
go.
Captain cut.
Yeah.
Let me know if this if you could hear the sound. Okay, I'm
On the
playing it
YouTube
right
channel,
now.
buddy.
Mist of Lies by me, Eli.
Also,
Senator
the
Ainley
documents in the chat. The private chat.
Couldn't quite place what it was, but staring out at this meeting of a collection of senators talking about a new appropriations bill to potentially boost agriculture subsidies, he couldn't help but feel that something was off. But no one else seemed to notice, least of all the senator leading the meeting. The head of the Agricultural Committee in the Senate was not an incredibly prestigious position, but Senator Chief Palpatine of the Channel sector seemed to wear it as a badge of honor. Team supposed that was because the sector had such little stature in the political world, so being named the head of any committee would seem like a festival being thrown in the honor of the up-and-coming senator. We must ensure that this agricultural bill is not bogged down by the excessive influence of Republic bureaucrats that seems to be plaguing this body more and more these days, Senator Palpatine said in his usual steady demeanor. My friends, the
Can you
world
pause
like
for a
my
second,
own
Scotty?
are in urgent
Yeah.
Can anyone hear that dripping in the background?
Yes, I don't know whose it is, but I do hear a
Yeah,
little noise.
not a clue.
Okay, so never mind. Okay, I think the problem might be Michael.
I think Michael's taking a leak.
Okay, never mind. I was just getting confirmation that everybody was hearing that.
Yes, it's
It's been happening the whole time.
Yeah.
I don't think it's because Michael's peeing.
Okay, but anyway, yeah, you can keep
Somebody's
playing.
fishing.
Ten or so senators in the room all nodded or made some sort of affirmative noise, which did not surprise Senator Team, as this group of senators were fairly ideologically in line with each other. Then Senator Team's eyes wandered to his colleague from the ICTA sector, Senator Maxius Delado. The senator was
man.
quickly becoming a rising star in the institution, as his homeworld of ICTA, bordering on the mid and outer rim, had become a surprising hotspot in the galactic entertainment industry, making it one of the fastest growing planets within the Republic. As such, Team would think that Senator Lotto would be paying more attention in the meeting, but he wasn't. His eyes almost seemed glazed over, almost like he was completely zoned out in the meeting. Senator Palpatine seemed to notice this too. Senator Delado, is everything all right? Palpatine asked. Oh, yes. I apologize, Chief. I was thinking about how to implement an extra clause or so into this bill, Delado responded, as if nothing strange was going on around him. An extra clause? Palpatine inquired. Regarding what? This may sound bizarre, but I received word around a month ago that scientists on ICTA have recently discovered that our crops can grow better by sprinkling a small amount of yenith feed on the soil. Delata answered, almost as if he was testing the waters to see how his statement would go over. I was wondering if we may add a clause that gives a tax credit to those using yenith feed for their soil, as it will be more ecologically friendly for many planets in the Republic. Immediately, many senators, including Team, checked over their data pads for more information about yenith feed. Team recognized very quickly that this would be a difficult proposal. He spoke up to the room. Senator Delado, it seems that the quarter plant is a vital ingredient in this feed, and yet the plant grows on a few select planets throughout the galaxy. Inconvenient planets to get to at that. Senator Delado looked very ready to answer this potential opposition from his fellow representatives in the Galactic Senate. My aides have compiled a list of the most cost-effective planets to harvest the quarter plants on, and how the Republic would operationalize the growing and harvesting of these plants, as they need very specific planetary conditions to grow. Delado said plainly as he sent the memo prepared by his aides to his colleagues' data pads. A senator from an expansion region world that Senator King could not quite remember the name of stood up when she got the memo and shouted, Senator Delado, we could not possibly. The galaxy shall suffer if we do not secure
Nice.
the future of the quarter trade, Delado proclaimed unexpectedly. Even he looked surprised at his declaration that almost seemed like it came from a different person. In fact, the outburst from Delado was so sudden that Senator Team could have sworn he saw a puff of green smoke appear around the senator from ICTA. Now, that'd be illogical. It was just a trick of the light, Team told himself. The man was just getting passionate about something he cared about, nothing more than that.
I'm so dreadfully sorry. I do not know what came over me, Delano apologized, catching his breath after roaring out that last shout. I think this will greatly help both my people and people on all of your planets. I strongly believe that this clause should be added to our bill. There, Senator Delano, Palpatine piped up. We all get impassioned at times about the incredibly important work of serving our democracy. I am certain we can find a way, perhaps with some minor adjustments, to get your crucial clause into this bill. I appreciate it very much, Sheev. I know the process of getting any bill to the wider Senate is not easy, to say the least, and I value all of your cooperation, Delano said heartily. He then turned to the group of senators at large. All right, everyone, shall we hold a vote on advancing this bill out of committee? The vote was entirely unceremonious, as this bill had broad support from all sides of the political spectrum. It advanced out of committee with a unanimous vote, and Senator Palpatine would bring it up in the next meeting of the Galactic Senate. Senator Team walked out of the meeting not 15 minutes later, a bit befuddled at the conduct of his colleague from the 8th sector, but mostly just ready to proceed to his other senatorial duties that he had to attend to that day. As the meeting ended, Senator Sheev Palpatine saw Senator Ainley Team of the Dusting sector approaching him. The senator was sure that his colleague wanted to talk to him about the behavior of their colleague, Senator Delano. In addition to his sudden burst of passion about a seemingly mundane topic, as well as a distinctive puff of green smoke that Senator Palpatine was sure he had seen before, he had thought he had made it clear to his colleagues that he had a particular distaste for his forename. Yet the senator regularly called him Sheev in this meeting with as little care as if he was just discussing the weather. As the three-eyed Gran approached him, he sensed that the other senators in the room had largely forgotten about the incident. Senator Team was obviously the exception. Senator Team, did you have something you wish to discuss with me? Palpatine asked. Yes, Senator Palpatine. Some things about Senator Delano's proposal, of course, in relation to his unwarranted clamor today, made little sense to me as I looked over the proposal, Team said timidly. Palpatine waited for a few moments as many of the senators left the room to continue talking somewhat quietly with his colleague from Alistair. I noticed some things as well, Senator Team. This quarter plant seems like a lot of trouble to go through for a fertilizer that doesn't seem to have been tested to the standards that the Republic requires, Palpatine said carefully, not wanting anyone else to catch even a word of what he said. Discreetness was an important quality for a senator to have, as well as for other duties that Sheev Palpatine attended to. And beyond that, most of these worlds that it would be able to be grown on are on the frontier, not properly under the control of the Republic. Who do any of us know who have significant reasons to go to Batu, or Phrygia, or where the largest natural occurrences of it are? Senator Team stopped and shuddered, extremely afraid of what he was about to say next. Dathomir. Surely you don't believe in the old fairy tales about that place, Senator, Palpatine said. The senator from Naboo was starting to put some of these events that, taken separately, may seem unrelated into a larger picture. He needed to quickly redirect Senator Team's attention from that rancid sector. Oh, of course not, Senator Palpatine, but you must admit the mystery surrounding that world will not make it an ideal site for exporting such a key resource, Team said, clearly trying to admit his fear without seeming like a coward to his fellow senator. Then let me tell you assuredly, Senator Team, I have some friends from my youth who I've kept in touch with. They are galactic explorers. They have told me with all certainty that the only advanced life forms on Dathomir are an offshoot tribe of Zabrak warriors, originated from Eridonia. These Zabraks are primitive and want nothing to do with our republic, so we leave them be. However, to your point, I would not want such a supposedly important resource to constantly have the possibility of being disrupted by tribes of savages, Palpatine stated confidently. Team visibly relaxed upon hearing Palpatine's truth about what was really on Dathomir. I will have my staff further look into logistics of Senator Delano's bill. I promise you this matter will not go unresolved. Now, if I may, I have other duties to attend to, Palpatine said, as he needed to make some important calls in light of his recent discoveries. Of course, Senator Palpatine. As soon as Senator Palpatine, as soon as Darth Sidious, Darth Lord of the Sith, got to his office, he used as he masqueraded as the young, ambitious senator from the Chommel sector the next day. He sat down at his desk and made sure the cameras inside his office were disabled. An aide of his alerted him to Senator Delato's arrival at his office. He quickly dismissed the aide, wanting this meeting with Senator Delato to be just the two of them for privacy's sake. Good morning, Senator. I thought our meeting yesterday was productive. Mine is by howling at the moons, Delato said with a laugh, seeming to take his behavior the previous day in stride as he sat down opposite the senator. Yes, I'm glad you are all right, my friend. Nothing is more important to this institution than the sanity of its members. I did, however, have some questions I might like to ask about the additional clause that caused all the ruckus to begin with yesterday. Palpatine asked, probing the question to see the senator's response. What of it, Senator? Delato asked abruptly. Merely what you know about the main place that the quarter plant can be found, the planet of Dathomir. It's not terribly close to the Ictus system, if my memory serves me. The Dark Lord of the Sith had his suspicions about another player in the game with this bill passing, one that, if left unmonitored, could become a large issue for his plans of galactic domination. Oh, not much, my friend. My ship crashed down onto the planet due to a faulty hyperspace jump a few months ago, and while I was waiting for rescue ships, I just admired the beauty of the mostly uninhabited planet. It was actually there that I discovered the miracle of Quarter, Delato said, as if visiting Dathomir was just something that everyone in the galaxy did. Dathomir was a planet that was far out of the way of most citizens of the Republic, and no one would just happen upon the place, even with this so-called crash. Curious, Senator. If you would do me the favor of standing up, I have a theory that I want to test. Delato did so. My friend, Palpatine said with a sigh, since yesterday's meeting, I have been concerned for your overall health, so I'm going to perform a test on your sanity that is not known to many, although it is thought of in the scientific community to be extremely effective. Delato nodded, and Palpatine stood up as well. Darth Sidious, Dark Lord of the Sith, focused hard on his hatred of the institution of the Senate, of the imbeciles he had to deal with day in and day out in a quest to gain more power, hatred of the hustle and bustle of Coruscant, and mostly hatred of the pathetic Jedi and the so-called peace they claimed to bring to the galaxy. He let loose several torrents of force lightning that hit Senator Delato in seconds and sent him immediately to the floor. Senator Delato writhed on the floor desperately, letting out screams of, "Why?" and "What is this?" and "Stop!" It is not evident if Senator Palpatine of Naboo would have listened to him, but Darth Sidious certainly would not. On and on the lightning came, causing Senator Delato to lie on the floor, unconscious, yet still alive. Suddenly, his body split open, almost as if it was being ripped apart at the seams, and out of it came a green mist, which slowly swirled up until it set into corporeal form. The Dark Lord of the Sith would be surprised at who he saw if he had not become suspicious upon the first sighting of the word Dathomir in his datapad yesterday.
You were told not to contact me in any way when I left with my prize.
Sidious growled in a rasp that sounded completely unlike the placid tone Senator Palpatine had used just minutes prior. The corporeal mist, which took the form of a woman with a pale face dressed in a moody brown cloak, spoke in a hushed voice that simultaneously had a bassy echo attached to it. Lord Sidious, how would I have any idea that you were in the employ of the Galactic Senate? Neither myself nor any of my sisters leave the confines of Dathomir very often, let alone into the core of such a place as Coruscant.
Your feeble attempt at an excuse only makes my anger with you stronger. I required your services in various ways long ago. Then you gave me something invaluable 2 years ago. Nothing will convince me to withdraw our exchange, least of all possessing one of the buffoons I have the misfortune of working with regularly. Your pitiful magics were no match for the power of the dark side then, and it remains that way now.
We shall see, said the mist, after which it quickly faded away. Senator Delato suddenly got back up, but he did not seem to be moving normally. No, rather something Or maybe someone was controlling him from afar. Delato opened his eyes. They swelled with mist as green as the grass on Naboo. Darth Sidious quickly pulled his lightsaber to him with the Force. The body of Senator Delato observed him doing so, outstretched its hand, and pulled another lightsaber that Sidious recognized as his spare to its hand. Both lightsabers ignited, and a heated duel began. Two red lightsaber blades clashed against each other. Although the mist controlling Senator Delato was powerful in its own right, and more skilled than the Dark Lord may have expected, it became clear after only a brief fight that Sidious outclassed it in every way possible. Sidious saw the wild and broad motions that Senator Delato's body performed with his spare lightsaber and quickly surmised a potential opening. He butted his head against Senator Delato's, knocking the possessed senator's body to the ground. This took the mist aback, and as it took a second to recover, Sidious pulled his spare lightsaber out of the possessed senator's hand and into his own with the Force. He pointed both ignited
Here's the kicker,
sabers
Slime.
at the possessed senator's throat. The senator's mouth opened, and yet the mist's voice came out of it. You bastard! I just want to see my son again.
Your son is gone,
Palpatine snarled.
and my assassin is the only thing in its place. An assassin who is completely under my control.
That's good.
The memories you made with him, all of the compassion you showed toward him, they are completely gone. Now our little discussion is at an end. Your scheme has been foiled, and you are all out of options. Exit the senator's body, and I guarantee that you will live to next sunrise on Dathomir. This is my only warning.
Sidious growled, with the fury of a dozen rancors. You win this round, Lord Sidious, Senator Delato's mouth said.
No, I have already won the next 5, but I would not expect you to have the capacity to see it.
Senator Delato's body slumped down on the floor, the spirit of the other being having left its bond with his own. He lied on the ground for a few moments, then slowly got up. Most in his situation would have been a million questions for the man sitting opposite him. What he saw, the secret identity of a colleague and friend, which son the Mist was talking about, what powers were used, why he had several Jedi weapons, all of it. And he would have too if Darth Sidious had not taken control of his mind the moment the spirit left.
Exist, Delano,
Sidious growled once again.
You will run down to the garage when you will take a spinner and drive it into the wall at such a rate that your body will disintegrate with its destruction. Now go, Senator. You have duties to fulfill.
Senator Delato swiftly walked out of Palpatine's office. The doors closed behind him. Darth Sidious peered at one of the statues in Palpatine's office and tapped on it a few times. From behind him, a trapdoor opened up to a secret room below the main office. Sidious went through the trapdoor and reached for a comm device that he stashed in a drawer in the facility where he dealt with affairs of the more private nature. He pulled out the comm, and soon enough, a voice came through. Yes? Sidious described what had just transpired with Senator Delato with the person on the other end. He and the person on the other side held a brief conversation before they came to a plan. Absolutely, Lord Sidious. I will go to Dathomir to deal with the witch and her insolence, was how the person Sidious was communicating with ended the call before they hung up. When Senator Ainley's team went into the next meeting of the Senate Agricultural Committee to prepare a written statement to be presented in the Galactic Senate session later that day, he instantly noticed the one member of the committee who was absent. He went up to Senator Palpatine, who seemed to be in quite a somber mood, clearly knowing what happened to Senator Delato. Shall I assume the worst about our friend from Icta? Team asked his colleague, hoping with everything he had that he was wrong. Unfortunately, you should. Security footage shows Senator Delato driving a speeder into a wall and perishing soon after. My staff took the liberty of looking into the other uses of the quarter plant, and they happened to find that it was a key ingredient in the recipe for an ale that is growing more and more popular within the Corps. The most likely conclusion to draw is that Senator Delato simply wanted a way to accelerate his developing drinking problem. What a terrible loss. We already lose too many great men to the bottle, Palpatine said, his voice aching. I've informed the rest of the committee about the cause of Senator Delato's death, and in his memory, we have decided to take out the clause he put in to prevent more needless losses like his own. We have also changed the name of the bill to honor our late colleague. Well, then, that's it, Senator Teen thought to himself. I wish I would have known. Maybe the other senators on the committee could have helped him. Senator Delato had no family of his own, having a few higher-profile romantic partners in the past, but hadn't dated in the last few years. There were few close friends left to mourn him. However, there were thousands of people representing worlds in the Galactic Senate. Teen dearly hoped that, when word of the senator's passing spread throughout that day, that, for at least a moment, they could all be united in their grief of a good man who died way too soon.
Yes, Eli.
Damn, Eli.
So
Eli had the
fucking
the political thriller aspect of it, man.
That's my favorite part is that ending with the complete cover up and Palpatine's nonchalance with it all. I love it.
It's
It was Palpatine's like,
though.
Dave
he was off
Filoni.
the sauce and flattened his speeder. Like,
I'm just gonna plug very quickly, and thank you so much for all of your praise. I
was
remember
amazing.
I had this idea, and I'm like, I don't know how this is gonna work out. If you want to see exactly who Sidious was talking to and what they ended up doing, check the In a Galaxy YouTube channel, as well as to see Lord Sidious's interaction with a certain intrepid pair of Jedi who just happened to be around the area.
Man,
interesting.
Good energy.
Very
Good
good.
energy.
Very good.
What I like most too is the voices. That is so hard to do. That is so hard to do, and you nailed it.
I have editing software.
The voice modulation for Sidious was on fucking point.
Yeah, how'd you do
Yeah, that shit went.
I was
fucking
actually
hard.
not that much lower. But it was just a simple pitch down. I'm like, wow, holy crap!
Wow.
I just really, you have like not just like the voice, like the speaking voice, but just like you like write the Emperor incredibly well.
Really well.
Yeah,
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, you have the
that was
Emperor's
good,
voice,
Eli.
for sure.
Oh,
It's almost like it's almost like you're an evil person, like an evil like wizard hiding in a politician's garb.
There were certain words that I like came upon, and they were like there was that with capacity. I'm like, oh yeah, no, that is absolutely something Sidious would say.
Yeah,
anything with a hard P sound that Sidious can spit out, he's gonna say because he wants to embellish everything.
So one thing I will say too is this is the companion piece to mine in the sense of like this is more about Palpatine / Sidious.
Maybe put a pin in that one, Scott.
I was gonna say,
hold on. But I know, Michael, isn't yours more about the other side, or am I wrong on that?
Do we want to just get into it? Do we want to?
Let's get into it.
Scotty, don't assume that my story doesn't contain both characters on that cover.
That's also true.
That's true. That's
seriously, check out the extended version. It cooks.
Oh, okay. I'm excited.
There's one line I will say. I just want to say this: the part that takes place on Dathomir that I wrote, which is the third part. So you can imagine it in between Delato killing himself and the next day. That's where I put it in. It was inspired by the killing of King Varuna.
Cool.
I am Darth Plagueis, Your Majesty, your shepherd.
Yes.
Was the line that stuck in my head throughout writing it. I just remember that specific line from the Plagueis book. So that's... Yeah.
Okay.
Ego Damask is not going to make this look nice.
Oh, I can't wait. Eli, thank you for that. That was very amazing entry into this year's, set of great stories, and our finale right here, the ending. I was always
very
at Michael.
impressed.
That was awesome.
And Eli, it's funny you mentioned that scene in particular.
Oh.
Because I also took inspiration from that scene and a line in that scene, but I'm not gonna preface this anymore. Let's just hope y'all remember the Darth Plagueis novel pretty well. Let's jump into this shit. Embrace Death's Door.
I know what he's talking about.
The Bith awoke, his consciousness hazy, as it had been for some time. His senses were diluted by the Bacta tank. Was it a Bacta tank? He knew he was submerged in some sort of viscous fluid. He could feel the cold metal apparatus affixed to his face, supplying him with oxygen. The liquid smelled sterile, almost like he was in a hospital. His vision was blurry, though he could see some movement beyond the tank. Some humanoid figure was moving past the tank, paying him little attention. A dull pain echoed throughout his body. How long had he been here? Why could he not clear his mind, focus his vision, or remember his circumstances? Had he been poisoned? Yes, that part came back to him. He remembered the yellow flower he had consumed. Where had that happened? Some sort of poison did this to him? How long had he been under its influence? The Bith could also sense something beyond his standard senses. He could not find the word for it, but he was vaguely aware of an energy surrounding him, connecting him to the world beyond the tank. His mind was far too foggy to tap into it, but he was conscientious of it. It was like a light that creeped through a closed door. No, not a light, a shadow. And the shadow loomed larger with each passing moment. There was a noise beyond the tank, and a tall silhouette appeared before him. He was lanky, with a large head, not unlike the Bith's. Despite the fact the Bith could not move, his muscles tensed at the sight of the figure. A primal urge to flee was faintly present in the back of his mind. A single word came into the Bith's mind. It held no meaning to him, but it manifested at the sight of the shadow beyond the tank. Plagueis.
Yes!
Can you hear me, Venomous? Plagueis asked. His voice was harsh and slightly mechanical. Yes, Venomous, that was his name. It felt as though he had not heard it in decades. When had his tormentor last spoken to him? Perhaps it had been recent and he simply could not recall in his muddled mind. Yes, I think you can. This will be a momentous day for both of us. Even after all these years, you still have some small role to play in the Sith Grand Plan. Of course, it could not be farther from what Tenebris thought you would amount to, but that is irrelevant. Venomous's mind spiraled, searching for the meanings of these words he recognized. Sith, Tenebris, Grand Plan. These words were empty, but relentlessly bounced and echoed within his skull. He was lost, unable to find his grip on any of these words. He was merely floating, physically and mentally, in a world he could not comprehend or interact with. I have restored some of your cognitive function so that you could have some perception of what I'm going to do to you. Consider it a reward for your service to my cause. You have been a useful subject for these tests these past decades, Venomous. At last, I shall permit you to die today. Though he couldn't decipher the meaning behind these words, Venomous felt oddly comforted by the word die. It carried relief within its singular syllable. He was tired yet unable to sleep. He craved peace from the dull, aching pain of his existence. A different voice, this one purely mechanized, spoke up. I have shut down the life support systems, Magister.
Yes.
Excellent, Plagueis said. Then we are ready to begin. Or, in your case, Venomous, to end. Plagueis extended a hand toward the tank. As he did, Venomous began to feel lighter. At first, his nerves flared with a sharp pain, but it quickly vanished entirely. Relief overcame his body. He had grown so used to the dull aches that he had not even noticed them until they were now gone. His vision began to grow dark. He could no longer hear Plagueis or feel the liquid against his skin. Yet, despite his physical senses fading, he felt peace and clarity. He was growing increasingly aware of what he felt beyond the tank, the great power within him, Surrounding him, the Force. Yes, he remembered the Force now. Tenebris had taught him to tap into it, but this was unlike anything he had ever felt with it before. In the past, it had been rooted in malice and a loathing for the Jedi Order. But this was so much more beyond that. Until this moment, the Force had merely been the shadow under the door, the smallest glimpse into what it truly was. And now the door was wide open, and he was enveloped in radiant light. It was the antithesis to everything Tenebris had taught him. It was light and comfort when he had been instructed to only embrace shadow and pain. And yet, in the face of this overwhelming light, he willingly submitted himself to it. It was almost an unconscious choice, allowing this radiance to carry him from his body into itself. As he drifted into it, Venemus's senses extended far beyond his own consciousness. He could feel connected to all life in the galaxy and beyond. Hundreds of trillions of life forms throughout the entire universe, each of which he could perceive and feel. How foolish and trivial it now felt to have spent his life trying to subjugate and destroy all of these lives. It should have been overwhelming. It would have utterly destroyed his conscious mind had he sensed this alone. However, Venemus was ascending and assimilating with the Force itself. The Force extended its hand to Venemus, and he took it. In a moment, his newfound peace shattered. The Force screamed, reverberating through Venemus's mind and interrupting his absorption. Something was pulling him back. The Force attempted to resist it. It dug its grip into Venemus, trying to keep him on this side of the door. He began to experience new, unfathomable levels of pain as he perceived the Force efforts in resisting this effort to drag him back from whence he came. These new senses were rapidly fading as he was pulled back beyond the threshold of the door. The Force held its grasp, yet he was torn away from it regardless, leaving a piece of him behind with it. The door slammed shut, and the aches and pain of his body returned. His eyes opened, and he was in the tank once more. Every nerve in his body burned, and his mind was more fatigued than ever. He was kept conscious only by the pain. Venemus was still unable to move. His mind was mired once more, and his only thought was the craving for the relief he had just momentarily experienced. He was even less now than he was before, a fragment of him left behind within the Force. He had been denied death by the very being who brought it upon him. Beyond the tank stood Plagueis, a wicked grin emerging beyond the breath mask. "His vitals are stabilizing," the droid beside him remarked. "Congratulations, Magister. Shall I restore the life support functions to sustain him?" "No. This is only the beginning," Plagueis said. "I have proven it can be done once. I need to ensure that it can be done consistently. So, Venemus, are you ready to die again?" Plagueis extended his hand to begin the process again. Venemus would experience the release of death once again, only to be denied it on the precipice. His mind, his consciousness, his midichlorians, even the Force itself, all screamed in agony at Plagueis' cruel manipulations. Venemus died. 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 Venemus died.
Damn.
Scotty and Michael and I all saw it, Darth Plagueis.
And we're like, yeah, let's just do that.
in the final episode of The Acolyte, and took that as a challenge.
Wow, Michael. You've always talked about how fucked up you thought that part was, and the fact that you actually did it.
So it started as just Venemus kind of became a meme over the last year for us, just as a friend group.
Yeah.
And so I had the idea near the beginning of October to make it like a serious story. And I got the idea of how to do it by writing it in this really ethereal, lofty way that kind of, like I said, mirrors the way Lucino writes. And it's very different from anything I've ever written. In a way, it does echo some of
the coffin from last year, the idea of being
Yeah.
perpetually kept alive.
Yeah.
But this is the even worse version of you actually die and leave a piece of yourself behind when you come
And you
back.
pull back in, which is so crazy. You did something I've always wanted to see in Star Wars, which is the sense of like, you know, if someone on the dark side goes to the light, and like because the Force, as we know, is nothing but life. You know, it's just the life force of everyone, and the idea of like being pulled towards it, even as a dark side user, finally realizing the dark side was never the path, and the light side was the ultimate path of your journey, was so beautiful.
But
Just
it's not even like a
so
redemptive
cool.
moment for Venom.
No,
it's
it's
realizing the foolishness and frivolity of the darkness, you know?
Uh-huh. Wow. Michael, you
Absolutely
ended this
incredible.
thing amazing. Thank you,
Always
Michael.
kill it, and this year's no exception.
Oh
Yeah.
my
I
god.
really do love, like, aside from like, because like Jerry, like your job every year at the Creepypasta is to write a very poignant but hilarious one.
Yeah.
And I love that everybody here went, let me write about my favorite Sith Lord.
Yes. Literally.
Everybody here,
Literally.
everybody went, let me write in James Lucino's voice about my favorite Sith Lord. Because everybody here was borrowing from Darth Plagueis, and then I went for the James Lucino deep cut of Dark Lord.
Darth Vader.
My favorite Sith Lord is famously Star Wars Theory. So
Nice, dude. But no, like it's funny because even Theory couldn't have written anything as original as all four of us did, or all five of us did here on the stream. You know what I mean? Like,
Wait, wasn't that in Jerry's fiction? That was the whole point. Is that was Jerry's
Yeah.
fiction with
Yeah.
the 12
Yeah.
fingers.
Right.
He
I
could
did that.
never-
I did that in like 20 minutes before this, you asshole. So game, set, match.
well,
Let's go.
look, boys, tell us where they can find you because we have to wrap this thing up. I need to go to bed. I'm sleepy. Jared, the dragon. Is that a spire? Sorry, I'm not gonna bring that.
Spyro, it's Spyro.
He's Spyro the Dragon. I played on my PlayStation 1. I played Spyro the Dragon with the steering wheel controller.
Nice, dude.
I like the Rayman with no arms.
Anyway.
You guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram at DarkJedi2552. I also want to give a shout out to Miss Taylor, who you can find on Twitter at QuicksilverGirl, who wrote Alone. It's freaking me out. Get this shit out of here. A fun little kind of two-pronged thing in celebration for Halloween. We dropped a special episode of the Knights of the Nerd Republic Versus series with special
That's
guest
right.
Scotty J-Ro. Eli pointed out to me there was a technical difficulty, so for some fucking reason, the video cuts out about an hour 17. The audio is still there, so it's fine. You can still listen to it.
And the version for Patreon was also fine.
And the Patreon version is fine. So give me $5 fucking dollars and you can watch it. No problem at all. But speaking of our Patreon, give me $1. I love that guy. But speaking of our Patreon, this is actually Taylor's idea. I right now am about to upload the text version of both Alone and The Chill to our Patreon at all tiers. So subscribe to the Patreon at whatever tier you want. At the $5 tier, you get all the versus stuff though. And yeah, you can go back and reread our stories. I'm very happy with how this one turned out this year. I can't remember the last time I wrote anything like this ever. And I was very happy with how The Chill turned out. I'm glad everybody liked that. And
Beautiful.
Big ups to Miss Taylor. And I'm glad I hit the exact level of edgelord with my Mortal Kombat ass kills with Darth Vader as everybody expected.
It was
Wow.
beautiful. It was wonderful. It was a
We
great
couldn't
slap.
have it any other way, and you know that, buddy. You know that. You just never know who's going to show up either. You never know. We could have a creepy presence show up in just a moment. The fucking thing won't upload. But anyway, upload, goddammit. That being said, let's move. Oh, wait, what is that? What is that? Uh-oh. Oh, no, Jared.
What?
I'm waiting for it. I'm waiting to hear it.
Oh
I'm
no!
just trying to freak him out.
Okay,
Anyway,
I'm like, who is it? Is it Vader? Is it Paul? Is it fucking
I
Sal?
was gonna say I was
I'm
just
for
about
all
to,
takers. I'll kill all of them.
I was just about to say I was waiting for How we doing, people?
Scotty
Eli.
just like pulls his face off, and it's like fucking spitball
Like fucking
Stanley.
Edgar in goddamn Men in Black. I want me to put my hands on my head.
Sugar
How
water.
we doing?
Eli.
Yeah. Thanks so much for having me on. I really enjoyed writing this story for this year. You can actually find it now on both on Archive of Our Own and on the Star Wars in the Galaxy YouTube channel. I've done an audio version, which is the full version. But yeah, you can find me at Star Wars in the Galaxy, the show I do with my friend Jacob. We are just finishing up season 2 of Star Wars: The Bad Batch right now. The last the episode where we discuss the season finale is coming out tomorrow.
Nice.
As for which we're going to get to Tales of the Empire, and a show that I've heard rivals quality with the Mona Lisa, and like War and Peace and stuff. I've heard people on the internet have told me. Andor. So we're getting ready to do Andor on In the Galaxy. And Epic Confrontations will be returning. We're recording a cutscene that will go with the next match, which we recorded a little while ago. I know it's been a long time since we recorded that, and we're uploading it. I want to apologize to the competitors and everybody involved with that, because I know it's been a long time. But we are going to get it up this week, I promise. Which is Bangers and Smash, Nikki Kumar and Charlie Ashby of the Imperial Senate podcast versus Sheaves Shields, Jerry, the host of this very show, and Andy from Force Friends. It's gonna be out this week, and we have some great stuff. We sprinkled a little bit of coaxium into Epic Confrontations, whatever that's gonna mean. And several people on the screen I know are involved in that. So stay tuned for that.
It's like you said, Scotty, you never know who might show the fuck up.
Michael.
You never know who might ask incessantly to be there and then wind up being there.
Listen, as the great American poet Kendrick Lamar once said, sometimes you got to pop out and show them.
Michael.
You can find me on Twitter at Local First Order. You can find me on YouTube, All Remaining Systems. Check out Ionized Bastards, my Star Wars RPG series featuring a bunch of these dudes. Season 3 will be coming probably by the end of the year. I don't know. And then we've also, hi buddies. We've also got a Star Wars fanfic that I write on there. I've written a whole series called Heart of the Jedi. I've got an ongoing one called Elegy of Malevolence Abyss, which is the culmination of all those short stories. I actually just recently got back into writing it, so there should be a new chapter soon. You can either listen to those on my YouTube page or go through my Twitter, find my AO3. You can read them all there.
Wow. Michael, Jared, Eli, Jerry.
You know what?
I love you all. I'm glad we can do this every year. It's a fantastic tradition. Keeping it up for next year. Hopefully we'll see our boy in some capacity, because it's obviously all on our minds. In some way, we're all owed at least by next October. It's another glimpse.
Give us venomous cowards.
Yeah.
Come on. Let's
Leslie back in charge of the Accolade. Give us season 2, goddammit.
All that being said, y'all, next week we got some fun stuff for y'all. Next week we're going to be doing Hot Wings and Candid Conversations with Ken and Alden. It's going to be a simulcast on both the Anytime feed and the Bombadcast feed. And Jerry and I will be eating hot wings while Ken and Alden actually ask us good questions that are progressively more difficult.
They don't get to eat the wings, though, right? They're like, it's just
no, they just
us.
watch us. They just watch. We're going to drink beer and ask us difficult questions. So
yes.
Can't wait.
Drink milk
be a
as
blast.
well,
Should be blessed. And thank you so much for joining. I think we should give Eli the Stay Bombad for this evening. Eli,
give Eli Stay Bombad. Well, hold on. You know we haven't done in a long time that we should probably do. Honestly, if we give up enough praise to our Lord here,
Sorry,
maybe we can get the Acolyte back on the air. Can we kneel?
Yeah, let's do it
one more time.
Got it.
You shall kneel before
Our gods, they're awesome gods, they reign.
I don't have
very
enough
all
space to
those.
kneel, and if I do that, I might pee. So
I am peeing.
Are you a pregnant woman?
Nice.
no, I'm diabetic, and I've drunk nothing but beer and water for like the last 3 hours.
The idea of Jared like getting to an image and just pissing himself is really funny. Just like his fucking vaginal canal and his uterus just fucking open and so exposed. He's like a baby donkey and just pisses herself.
I will.
Anyway.
That's my secret, Cap. I'm always pissing.
I will give birth to the new Cookie Cop, and I will create the human instrumentality.
Oh God,
Eli, what should people
There's
do?
your creepypasta for next year.
the people should stay bombad.
Did you say impossible? Pasquale? Only kidding, Jackie. I've changed my tune because I finally thought of a possible dream that we can all share.
What is it?
Pasquale? It's a dream about a world where nobody is poor or sick or hungry.
Oh, now that's a dream we can make come true.
I'm gonna make a change for once in my life. It's gonna feel real good, gonna make a difference, gonna make it right.
As I point up the collar on my favorite winter coat, this wind is blowing my mind.
I see the kids in the street with not enough to eat. Who am I to be blind, pretending not to see their need? A sour's disregard, a broken bottle top,
And a one-man soul, they follow each other on the wind, you know, 'cause they got nowhere to go. That's why I want you to know I'm starting with the man in the mirror. I'm asking him to change his ways, and no message could have been any clearer.
if you wanna make the world a better place, take a look at yourself and then make a change.
I'm starting with the man in the mirror.
Oh yeah,
I'm asking him to change his ways.
come on, change. No message could have been any clearer. If you wanna make the world a better place, take a look at yourself and then make a change. I'm starting with the man in the mirror. Oh yeah,
I'm asking him to change his ways.
no message could have been any clearer.
If you want to make the world a better place, take a look at yourself and then make a change.
Time for us to take a break, but we wouldn't dream of being gone for long. See you in a little bit.
Can we just talk for a moment about how Jared got showed up so hard by his girlfriend when it comes to creepypastas? Miss
It was
Taylor
incredible.
smoked him.
Like,
Yeah,
Not even
Oh,
close.
it was incredible. I can't even believe it. And
Can't
you know
even
what's
win
funny?
on this show.
I know. Isn't that wild? I just think it's Jared just spilled a whole drink on his belly. Are you making fun of Jared?
You just pissed
No, I
yourself
just-
by kneeling?
I shook this bastard up and I fucking opened it like a badass. Cause I don't give a fuck. I'm better at trivia than fucking Jared.
Yeah.
proven, literally proven.
Proven. Literally proof. Oh, he's back. He's still backstage. Hold on. Anyway.
What?
Still live, you know that, right?
What?
That
Huh?
being said.
What?
What?
I didn't pee myself. I didn't pee. Oh, Taylor.
Jared, we're not live anymore. You're crazy.
You're crazy.
Yeah, I don't
dude.
know what he's talking about.
What a goofball.
I just peed myself.
Nice, dude.
Hey, look, good stream. Good stream. I'll go edit it and post and make sure I get all the.
Can you
Jared
like
out of there?
Photoshop Jared out?
Just get all the.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Anyway. Oh no,
Loser
someone's
ass
actually
story, too.
someone
Yeah.
useful is actually on Jared's screen.
Hi, Miss
Miss
Taylor.
Taylor.
Hi,
An
Miss
artist.
Taylor. Great story tonight, Miss Taylor.
Love you, Taylor. She said.
Why, Taylor?
Perfect. Beautiful.
Anyway,
Cut.
that being said, y'all, in epic confrontations, Jared always loses. So
Yeah, that's true.
Are we live?
Chat, is this real?